Now you can. Can you hear me now? Golly, I'm sorry, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. I'm super excited you guys are on tonight. We have a good live stream. We're going to taste a lot of bottles. Yeah, thanks, Peter. Thank you guys so much. I'm an idiot. I had myself muted. I'm going to bring Ben on here in a minute, and we are going to taste through some bottles. I've got some newer allocated stuff that came out that I want to taste for you guys that I shot reviews on today, but those probably won't come out till next week or the next week. And Ben is, I told Ben to grab some things that might be easier to find, or some of his favorites that he's sipping on that kind of are maybe in the same ballpark as what we're tasting tonight. So we are going to taste Smoke Wagon Bottled and Bond Rye, Bardstown Chateau De Laubade, and then Barrell Vantage is the other one we're going to taste tonight. So give you guys some tasting notes on that. Let's see. Let's get Ben in here. Let me add him to the stream, and then we'll change a few things up here. Yo, Ben, what's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. Did you get home okay from Whiskey Mash?
Yeah. Thankfully I was scared when that flight kept getting delayed. I was like, there's only I would have had to stay in Champaign for a few extra days. That flight to Chicago doesn't go out that often.
Yeah, it was crazy. Did you have a good time, man?
Yeah, it was great. It was a good time. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to taste or smell anything real well, but other than that, it was a good time. I was happy.
Yeah. For those of you joining in on the chat, let us know, what are you drinking tonight? Have you had any of these that we're tasting tonight? And if so, what are your thoughts? I have not watched any reviews on these, so I don't know what people are saying about them. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts if you've tasted any of them. But they seem like they're good. Seem like they're pretty good. All right, so just a quick couple things here. Whiskey Mash went amazing. We had such a good time. If you guys missed it, I think next year, we're doing it next year for sure, and there will be probably some early bird specials next year. But we tasted so many good pours. Ben had a little cold, so he didn't get to taste too much. But by far, my favorite pour of the night was the Heaven Hill 17-year Bottled and Bond. And I wish that wasn't the case, because it's the one bottle I can't get unless maybe I win it tomorrow in Narav's in the A1 lottery. So
yeah, if you win it, wink wink. rig the raffle. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, if you bought tickets, you absolutely got your money's worth. It's just the Michter's 20 alone, just for even like a half ounce sample of that, it's like $75 bucks. So if you were to go to a bar and get something like that, you'd be paying $7,500. And so just that alone, yeah. And then the Heaven Hill 17, all the Buffalo Trace stuff that hardly got touched, but still, yeah, there were a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, man, I had several pours of the Heaven Hill 17, a couple pours of the Michter's 20, Old Fitz. I mean, what was really cool, I thought the coolest thing about the whole night was looking at the Buffalo Trace table and seeing nobody there. And there were so many good bottles there, and everyone was at the Heaven Hill table. I mean, you knew just by looking at that, like the people that were there knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I mean, it was surprising. They had like a Weller single barrel. They had Old Rip 10 Lot B. Like they were good Buffalo Trace bottles. I was surprised they didn't have like E.H. Taylor barrel proof. I feel like that one would have gotten people would have done some damage, I think, on that. But it's
maybe I don't know. I don't know like what Narav's stock's like, but it is in the raffle tomorrow. I think there may be two of those in the raffle tomorrow. So
really? Mm-hmm. That's a good one. That one I really enjoy that one. But it's a bottle you're never gonna find.
Yeah. Peter says hasn't seen Vantage. Don't get Smoke Wagon in Bardstown. Yeah, I'm not sure what Barrell's distribution is like. In Illinois, we have no problem finding it. I mean, it's everywhere. In fact, it kind of sits on shelves because it's an $80 to $100 bottle, and some of their batches are hit and miss. But when they hit, man, they really hit. They really do a good job.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I'd be interested to know if, like, I know that I know Smoke Wagon doesn't get to, they don't distribute that. There's a lot of states they don't distribute to, but Barrell usually does a pretty good job. So I'm sure there's probably some states around there because everything's so close together. I don't know, New Jersey maybe might get some. I'd imagine they would, but
G Hawk says, drinking my first pour from Smoke Wagon Rye right now. Oh, nice. Tasting good. Won't say amazing, but good. Yeah, it's we'll get into it here in a second. But I would say my thoughts are kind of the same on it. I did see there. I didn't realize that Smoke Wagon is doing uncut, unfiltered of that as well.
Uncut, unfiltered.
Mm-hmm. And I also didn't realize that. So that mash bill from MGP, the 51% rye, 49% corn, is they're doing away with it. They're not having it anymore. But from what I understand, is Smoke Wagon has a contract with them for that mash bill. So it looks like they may have the only 51-49% mash bill for that going forward.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Kurt, missed you on the pick yesterday. Yeah, man, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it. I really wanted to. So A1 did Starlight picks yesterday. They selected 3 barrels. I don't know if I can say what they are yet, so I don't want to say, but I don't know if Narav's released yet, but yeah, we were going on so many picks and doing so much, and I just went to Hard Truth with Ray at Harvest Market last week, and I just didn't want to miss any more work. I was missing a lot of Thursdays and Fridays, so otherwise I'd have been there. I really wanted to go.
Full-time whiskey tube.
Let's see. Jimmy John's Pizzas. Smoke Wagon isn't here in Michigan, but I'm hoping Laubade is great. I think many are cautiously waiting for more reviews. I am saving more Disco 9 or more for Disco 9. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we'll get into Chateau as well. Ben, so when I pour this Smoke Wagon, what rye are you going to be drinking tonight?
So I grabbed 2. It's funny, that price range, I don't have as many ryes in that $50 price range as I thought I did. So I grabbed 2. I grabbed Rare Breed rye, which is one that I haven't been huge on. As you can see, there's still a good amount of it left. But I was like, maybe with some time, maybe I'll like that one a little more. And then the other one, Knob Creek single barrel rye.
Oh, there you go.
So these ones super available. I mean, the Rare Breed rye distribution, I think, has gotten better on that since it released a while back. But yeah, both super available and ones that I don't go to too much. So I'm like, well, let's try these ones again, see what we think.
All right, well, let's pour these and we'll get into it. Oh man, I didn't get glasses. Dang it. I meant to get some glasses. And
that's the absolute first step.
You had one job.
Yeah. The second job would be having the sound on.
I'm glad I didn't go too long like that.
I know. I saw you and I was just like, is this me? I thought it was me. I was like, this can't be me.
Let's see. I don't know. Do you guys? I've noticed some people are playing music during there. Do you like when they have music low or no, Ben?
I think it depends on what it is. I think if it's like something that's if it's too loud, like there's a very fine line between being too loud. And if it's too loud, then it's weird. It sounds kind of like you're
we'll put this on, and then you guys in the comments tell me if it's annoying, if you want it off, on, whatever. We'll just. I don't think I got any songs with words or anything. So this Smoke Wagon bottle and bond rye, again, 51% rye, 49% corn, and 100 proof. From my understanding, this is a blend of like 5-year and coming from the lower floors. So,
and it's still MGP, right?
yeah, yep. Smells okay on the nose. I wouldn't say I'm blown away by it. Do you know what the MSRP is for this, Ben?
That's a good question. Let's see.
I paid like $70, but that seemed high. Peter B says, we get Barrel Craft Spirits, just has not reached us yet. Yeah. C. Davis in the house. What's up, buddy? He picked up Smoke Wagon Rye this week. Hasn't opened it yet. Dude, pop it open, man. Pour it with us.
It's so tough to find MSRP on stuff. I'm seeing like 80-ish bucks is like, it seems like 80 and up is what I'm seeing. But again, you're looking online. And so, I mean, everybody's charging more. But,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that definitely feels in the
ballpark anyway.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably what you paid is probably retail.
So this is sweet on the nose for sure. There's a little bit of that MGP citrus coming through, but not near as bad as those 95.5 ryes. I actually get a lot of green apple and cinnamon on the nose on it.
I wonder. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just say I'd say that I'd rate the nose just average on this. It's not blowing me away, but it's not bad. Just fine.
It would be interesting to know. It'd be interesting to know the quality of barrels that like what the priority list is for MGP on who they give their better barrels to.
Yeah.
And it would be, I mean, you're never going to know, and they're never going to say anything. And some of it's up to chance, but they have to prioritize certain people, certain companies. And I wonder who those are. I'd be interested to know.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting to know, especially since I've been told they're completely out of stock. And so I'm curious to know. And I've heard that from very good sources.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know what everybody's going to do that's sourcing MGP that's not distilling.
Yeah. I mean, if I was MGP, or I guess they're called what, Ross and Squibb or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I was them, I mean, they have to, as they're starting to get busy, like over the years, as bourbon's gotten more and more popular, you feel like they had to have seen some of this coming. So they had to have held some of that stuff back. And pretty much everyone lost a lot of their good stock just putting out a bunch of these releases and things like that, or over promising. But I wonder how much stuff they have kept away still. Because I feel like it's not much, but at the same time, I mean, who knows how much of it they actually kept, because they're a very big distillery.
Yep. For you guys just jumping on, I am tasting the Smoke Wagon Bottled and Bond Rye, and Ben is which one did you end up pouring, Ben?
So I poured them both. I was side by side, going side by side with them. So,
but you're doing Wild Turkey Rye.
Yep, and then Knob Creek Rye.
And the Knob Creek Rye.
Single barrel rye. Yeah.
So this the biggest note on this Smoke Wagon Rye for me is vanilla. It's a vanilla bomb. And definitely the green apple comes through. It's really well rounded, and at 100 proof, it's pretty crushable. If you're looking for a rye where you're just going to get punched in the face with tons of rye spice, this is definitely not it. It's very soft for a rye, very crushable. I think a lot of people who may not like ryes might love this. Probably give it just a little bit average score on the palate, but again, I don't know if it's $70 good,
That's tough. Yeah, like those 5-year picks of MGP, the bourbon and the rye. The ryes tend to be a little bit better, but for the most part, I'm pretty tired of seeing 5-year MGP picks, just because they're everywhere. There's so many of them. So many people are getting their own picks, and a lot of them are just okay. But sometimes you do find some good ones.
Is the music loud on your end, Ben, or is it all right?
I can't even really hear it.
Oh, okay. If you guys are in the comments, if you can hear it, let me know if it's too loud, too soft, or you don't care. I'll take anything. So let's see.
Yeah, you're over there focused, deep in thought.
C. Davis paid $79.99. First impression is he overpaid. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, I would say, oh, they said they can't hear it. All right. Well.
Yep, told you. There you go. You hear a little bit.
Just let me know if it's too much or not enough.
I feel like that's good. For a second there, it seemed like it was going up. I was like, all right, maybe we need to. That sounds good.
All right. It's crazy because on my headphones, it's pretty good.
I was going to ask, yeah, you're playing that through your headphones, so
yeah, it must not come across the same. Wild. I don't know. So
yeah, I feel like that's a good volume, at least how it's coming through for me.
Oh, Peter said just right.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Peter knows.
All right. You guys start getting annoyed with what's playing, just say, hey, cut that shit off. I'll cut it off. You know, one person we are missing here, because Ed is at another concert, you know. So.
Fuck off, Ed.
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 I like that you got Renee to do it.
That's my favorite part. Although Brad's fuck off Ed is classic. I just need to put his fuck off Ed over and over and over.
Oh yeah, his is perfect. Get him to turn up the country a little bit more, the backwood. You know, get him to turn up that accent a little bit more. It'd be perfect. That'd be so good. So based on what you paid for the Smoke Wagon, what would you grade it if you had to give it just an overall grade 1 to 10?
So 1 to 10, 5 being average.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a 4 or a 5. I mean, when you're taking in cost and everything, it's okay. It's not going to blow anyone's socks off, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to taste the uncut, unfiltered, for sure.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because those 5-year rye picks at cast strength, those can be good. I've got a couple, not Smoke Wagon, but they're MGP, and some of those have been really good.
Yeah,
some of them have not, but some of them absolutely have.
I'm gonna see if Renee can grab me some glasses. Just. All right. I don't know if she heard me.
Yeah, let's hope.
Oh, she heard. Oh, Lexi heard me. All right. Oh, we're good to go.
Start pouring it in your hands like sipping it from your hand.
Yeah, you know, it's all right. A beautiful bottle. Beautiful bottle.
I think it's I don't know. I'm not wild about them. I think they're fine, but I'm not wild about the Smoke Wagon bottles.
Oh, you don't like them?
I mean, it's not that I don't like them. I just think they're okay. I don't know. I think they're.
Oh no, Lex, one like this. Another one like this. Well, that explains your hair, man.
I guess so. My style choices don't line up, apparently. I think, like I said, they're not bad. I mean, they're better than a lot of other bottles. Like, you know, some of them, like this. Oh my goodness, the double oaked bottles.
Yeah,
these things are just little. Like, I don't even.
Thank you.
They're cute, but
yeah,
it's just like very boring design. So I can say the Smoke Wagons are better than that, but.
C. Davis said, what sucks is he could have had Hard Truth Batch 3 over Smoke Wagon Rye. I'll tell you, after having the Smoke Wagon Rye, this is no joke. I would buy the Hard Truth Rye over that any day of the week, and it's same price. That's a good comparison. And that Smoke Wagon or that Hard Truth Rye is only like 2 to 3 years old. I don't know if you watched the the vlog we did, but man, that we had a great time. Brian is so awesome, man.
He's a really cool guy. I need to actually, I meant to, he's going to be in Austin. I don't remember when he said, sometime soon, but he's going to be coming to Austin. So we're going to meet up. I was supposed to give him my number and I forgot. And so I'm going to need to call on you to get that to him.
Yeah. I'll get it for you. Yeah. Man, we stayed on the on-site cabin, which is just fantastic because you can just walk there, drink as much as you want. The chick that took us on the ATV tour,
yeah,
she was worse than Brian was driving.
Was it worse? Did it seem like she was in control, just reckless, or did it seem like she just didn't really know what she was doing? And like,
no, it's a good distinction. One didn't know what they were doing. The other was just reckless.
Okay, see, that's a little bit better because it's like you can. When I saw the video, I saw her with the hat and the hair put up. I was like, it seems like she's been doing this before.
Oh
like,
yeah, dude. We started to get in the ATV and she rolled up her sleeves, and I was like, oh no.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that she had that thing in 4-wheel drive the entire time.
She gunned it. She gunned it the whole time. We had a good time. But some of those, when we were there, we tasted their chocolate malted rye and their caramel malted rye. Those have just got better, man. They're so good. I can't wait till those come out.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much everything we had was good, but yeah, it was, when I think back to some of those barrels, there was still a lot of youth there, and that's why they weren't putting those bottles out yet. But it felt like you could tell the potential that they had, which is good.
Yeah, we had a lot of good cocktails too. Their bourbon cream's fantastic. Everything they do, man, is really good. I think
their bourbon cream is awesome. Yeah.
Super impressed with them. All right, we're gonna move on to Chateau De Laubade. You have any finished stuff? What do you think? What are you drinking that's finished?
So this is the Founders.
Founders?
Yep.
So that's all Dickel, right? It's all Tennessee.
It is.
Okay.
It is. So you actually have a sample of this that I brought you as well. I don't think you've opened it yet.
Oh, I do?
Yep. I brought it when I was there. It was the third one that we didn't get into.
Oh, man, I got to find it, dude.
I know. You probably threw it in the trash.
But never.
Just discarded it.
All right, let's see here.
The Knob Creek Rye single barrels, those are actually pretty good.
So for those of you that don't know, let's see, so people can follow along. The Bardstown, a blend of 12-year Kentucky and 10-year Tennessee, and I think there's more 12-year Kentucky in here than the Tennessee, but it's not much. It doesn't state on the bottle, but I think it was like, I don't know, just over 50% for the 12-year. And then that's finished in the Chateau Armagnac casks. 107 proof. Price tag, crazy, $170.
Yeah, I was surprised to see how expensive that was.
Ridiculous. Crazy, man.
You know what's funny is those things really aren't moving too well on secondary.
Really?
Mm-mm. So they're going right now for like $250, which isn't bad considering that if you're paying $170 plus tax, and then if you're getting someone to ship it, it's like it's almost cost plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
But the batch one release of that it's going for like $1,000.
Oh my gosh! Well, that batch one's one of the best finished whiskeys I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it's up there with one of the best that I've ever had.
This is really jammy on the nose. Like tons of red fruit, like peaches, honeyed raisins. Really fruity though. Like, you know, some bourbons are like brown sugar, caramel, vanilla. This isn't that. This is like a dessert. C. Davis said, his parents live in Indy. We are going soon. Yeah, dude, make it a stop for sure. It's a beautiful place. And the really cool thing, if you go there, is, you know, on everybody's bucket list is to do a single barrel pick. And you just can't do that everywhere. But that you can do that at Hard Truth. They'll bring out 6 barrels and you can buy 1 bottle or 10 or whatever you want to do. But you can do a single barrel pick experience there. I think it's like $100 or something. Mm-hmm. ATV tours, moonshining tours, you know, tasting experiences there. It's a, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff to do there.
Yeah, and get the bourbon cream.
Yeah, and get the bourbon cream.
Get the bourbon cream. Grab a few
forget
bottles
that Buffalo Trace bourbon cream. It's nothing compared to theirs.
That stuff, I was surprised at how good that was. It is, yeah, it's amazing. It's got just enough of that little alcohol bite to let you know it's there, which is nice, but it's just, it's so good.
Yeah. Hard Truth just started to filter in for the first time in Michigan. Oh, nice. Nice. All right. I'm going to go in on this. Cheers, everybody. Well, the good news is I don't taste any of that Dickel minerality, which is the one thing I always pray for.
Yeah. But it's definitely a letdown from what the first batch was.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here. It's not the first batch. It's not.
Yeah. That first batch, it's so tough. Like you got everything that you could have wanted with that first batch. It's like high age MGP, barrel strength, you know, finished for however long it was finished for, like 18 months or something like that. And it's like, this just is definitely a big step down.
Yeah, I mean, the palate again is that jamminess and peaches and honey and fruit. It's just missing something. I don't know what. It's definitely not as good as the first batch though.
Yeah, I watched Cam with Drums and Drams.
What did he say?
He compared both of them, and I'm trying to remember some of the notes he was given. I think he was getting more like the dark fruits, like plum, fig from that Armagnac.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just like, he's like, it feels kind of like they cheaped out a little bit with using like what is it, 12-year Dickel or 10-year Dickel?
10-year.
Yeah, he's like, so that's what it was. Basically, it's like they used Elijah Craig barrel proof because it's 12-year Heaven Hill, and then they cut it down so that they could put out more bottles of it. But it was just like, yeah, he just wasn't. He wasn't like super disappointed, but he definitely wasn't a huge fan of it. And then when he compared it to batch 1, it was just so much different.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, you know, here's the thing. Most of us who are reviewing whiskey or been into whiskey for a while have had batch 1. And so we're instantly going to compare it to batch 1. Yeah. I think a lot of people who haven't had batch 1 who really like those sweet, fruity, jammy flavors and buy this are going to love it. I think they will. It's just, to me, I know what that Chateau could be, especially with 12-year MGP or?
I think it was 12-year, and I'm pretty sure it was cast strength MGP because it was like it was like over 115 proof. I'm pretty sure.
God, that bottle's so good, man. Yeah, I think that's the problem is like, and the other problem with it is $170.
That's what I was gonna say. Like knowing you paid $170 for it, how do you feel about it?
I feel like I got stuck in me.
yeah.
It's crazy.
It could change too. Especially with finished stuff. It does evolve, but
yeah. And again, there's nothing like harsh or bad about this. Again, if you're talking a $70-$80 bottle, I'd be all on board, but $170, man, it's just. But again, I've had the first batch. I think people who haven't had the first batch who pick this up and are looking for a desserty finished bourbon will like it and probably think those of us saying it's just okay are crazy.
Right. Yeah, that first Man, that first batch, I still have that there are a handful of bourbons and whiskeys that stick out that you think back to and you can like they really made a mark. That was 100% one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you brought that for me and a sample and at our first Patreon meetup last year. And I was blown away. That stuff is good. Mike's in the house. What's up, dude? So Mike used to be a UPS manager, and he just made me think of a story. I got busted this week shipping bourbon, and I haven't told Ben the story, so I'll tell you the story, Ben. So I had 5 bottles, and I don't know, like I've shipped at the same store for 3 years and never had a problem. And, you know, it's not a big town. I don't know if the guy recognized me or what, but this little shithead, I walk in and I put the boxes on the counter and he's like, what do you send in? And I'm like, hot sauce. He's like, all right, what's the first person? So I give him the first person's name, address, whatever. And he stands up and whips out his knife. He's like, I just have to check these boxes. And I'm like, fuck. I was like, well, I'm going to ride this lie all the way to the end. Yeah. So, and there was a box in a box. So I was like, he's not going to take the time to open both of these. So he cuts the first one open, grabs it, cuts the second one open, pulls out Weller 107. And he goes, this looks like bourbon. And I go, it's pretty hot bourbon. He goes, do I need to waste both our times and open the rest of these boxes? And I'm like, no. And I snatched them up because I, like you said, I thought he was going to confiscate them. I didn't know what was going to happen, to be honest with you. I was like, this guy can't tackle me. So I just took off out of the store with my
push him over.
So man, I'm probably blacklisted on UPS.
So I've got a crazy story. So this was, did you ever see those? So Heaven's Door did these like really expensive, they call it their bootleg series.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They come in like those Bibles.
Yeah.
So I had gotten one just through a trade, and those things, they're like $500. And I had told my wife, hey, can you drop this package off? I was like, just be careful. Like, don't drop it. Like, it's fragile. So she goes, they asked her if she wants insurance on it. And she accidentally said yes. And so then they were like, okay, well, since we're insuring it, we have to open it to check it to make sure it's all packaged correctly. And so she was like, okay. And so because she didn't know. And so they opened it up. And the guy's like looking at it, and he
thought it was a book.
And so he didn't know. He was like, "What is this?" And it didn't really slosh or anything because it's inside of that like big thick leather book. And he was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "It's a collectible." And he's like, "Okay." And he like put it back in the box, and they shipped it. And I was like,
"Oh my god!"
Yeah, I was like, "I'm glad I didn't have your guy. He would have." It up, but just it
pisses me off because he's gonna be telling that story for the next 2 years about how he caught me shipping bourbon. Yeah. The
FBI raids your house.
Yeah, Mike said the people at the UPS store are always super picky, take it way too seriously. Yeah, I mean, this kid thought he was a detective.
That's why I don't. Anytime I'm shipping stuff, I'll just go and I print the label online and I'll drop it off at, I think it's Walgreens. You drop them, or CVS, I think you have to drop CVS is for UPS. And so I just drop it off there, and those people certainly don't care. Just drop it off, and then they hand it to the pickup people, and that's the end of it. And so I never have to see anybody, never have to really talk to anybody. But yeah, when you go into the store, they're always like, "What are you shipping?"
Yep.
And it's like they take it very seriously. Like they look you dead in the eye. They're like, well, no.
I hope the shithead got a raise. He did all right, I guess.
He's the manager now.
He probably is.
They just promoted him.
All right. So my final thoughts on the Bardstown Chateau De Laubade is it's way too expensive. It's another, like, I would just have a pour of it in a bar. If you've had batch 1, you can probably just skip batch 2 altogether. My thoughts on it. So, all right. Next up. Oh, what were you drinking? I forget.
The Bardstown Founders.
Oh, that's right. So, give me some notes on it. What's it taste like?
Go. Well, how hard did you hide that sample bottle of it? Go grab it yourself.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember how it was labeled?
Yeah, you'll see the label on it.
What was it called?
It was one of the ones that I had done for Ed too. We were supposed to do the live stream with them, so I put like Ed's Tears.
Oh, okay. I think I know where that is. Hang on.
Yeah,
I'll
it's whichever one wasn't opened, because I put like the Cardinals suck on one of them. I put a Fat Kid's Dream on the other one.
All right, you gotta answer questions and stuff.
Yeah, I'll entertain the people. So Daniel says, print your labels at home. That's absolutely right. If you're ever going to ship bourbon, which legally you should not, print the labels at home. Daniel also said he enjoyed the Founder's finish. Definitely different.
All right. So I think I got it. I got the one that says Ed's Tears.
Yep.
All right.
That should be the one.
All right, we'll try this. So, Bardstown Founders. I was really wanting to taste this.
Well,
thanks,
today's
buddy.
the day, my friend.
Yeah. It's, every time I see just Tennessee, it scares me.
You don't get that typical like Dickel, those typical Dickel notes that people talk about, like the minerality and stuff like that.
Dude, this smells fantastic.
Yep. It's really good it has those elements of that like the coffee, the dark chocolate. Like if you really like stouts and you've had KBS stouted beer, it's good. I said stouted beer. Stout beer.
I know what the longer you smell it, there is definitely like an espresso note on there.
Yeah. But it's still got some fruity, some fruitiness is in there too. So it's an interesting mix. It's kind of like what are they? They're like cherries, but they're covered in like dark chocolate.
Oh yeah. The cordial cherries.
Yeah, I think that's what they're called. Seems like you said that confidently.
That does not taste like Tennessee whiskey. Wow. Yeah. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
You know what it has though? When we were at Hard Truth, I've talked about this a lot in videos, especially with Heaven Hill products, where I get that like slight musty kind of dank wood odor or taste.
The Sani water.
Yeah. And so Brian we were back in the like mixing room. He didn't take us. He wouldn't let me film back there, but we went back in Hard Truth's mixing room, and he's like, he started bringing out samples that had faults in them so we could taste them.
Interesting. Okay.
And so one of the like major faults they look for is that like dank wood note. And he brought us out a sample, and it was so strong. So we just smelled it, and he's like, "You don't taste this because you will never get this taste out of your mouth." He goes, "This barrel was just completely ruined," and it was like just dank, moldy, wet wood.
That's gross.
But sometimes in Heaven Hill, if it's just a little bit, I'm like, oh, it tastes like a little bit of age, and I kind of like it. But if it's too much, it's a bad note. This has a little bit of that to me.
Interesting. Okay. And I think that might be some of the, I feel like that might be some of like the Dickel, cause
I think you're right.
I get a little bit. So some people call it like a chemical note.
Yep.
Like a cleaning product note.
Yep.
And I typically never really understood that. I was kind of like, I don't really get that. But for some reason, just I guess from what I was coming off of with what I was drinking before, it was more prominent. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get that now. It's a weird, I'm trying to think of like the best way to describe it, but it is a very just chemically note. And it's only there for a split second. It's not.
Yeah, it's just there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this one.
So if you're going like retail, I think is 120, 130. And I'm not thrilled at that price. If it was $80, I'd be
Yeah.
very happy. But
Yeah.
it is unique, and it has
Very unique. It's got a lot of barrel spice on it too, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Boy, that's interesting. I don't know. That'd be one I'd have to sit with for a while and revisit, see how it went.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about it? You like it overall? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I would have had that blind to see what I would have thought of it.
Yeah. I almost didn't want to tell you, but then I can't just go like, hey, go grab that sample. Like,
and there's no telling when I would have got to it.
No, you wouldn't have.
I was surprised I knew where it was.
I think this is a good one to start the night with.
Yeah.
Because you get hit much more with the coffee, the espresso. It feels more delicate. The finish is pretty strong. You get that barrel spice, but I think the nose, which is actually, for me, it's kind of muted right now because I was coming off of some other stuff, but pretty much every time I've had it the first pour of the night because it's not real high in proof. And I think that's the best. Like, that's the best showing for it.
What's the proof on it?
I think it's like one. Oh, okay. It's actually a little higher than what I thought. It's 110.
Okay.
So it's not crazy.
There's some spice. There's some good spice on it.
Yeah. Yeah. The dark chocolate notes in the coffee is really nice. It lingers around.
Mine's just weird. I just taste that little funky dank wood.
Yeah.
But there is like that. I get that like cherry kind of, I don't know, fruit roll up note sometimes on Dickel that's there, but it's just covered with, like you said, chocolate and espresso and kind of dank wood. It's interesting. I start to love it, and then I'm not sure, and then I'm all over the place with that one.
Yeah. I think try it next time you have the rest of it. Try it as like the first pour of the night and see what you think.
Okay.
Because that gives it's a good showing it shows better that way.
Yeah. So did you have any double oak stuff there?
Yep. I grabbed Woodford.
Oh, that's a good one.
This is what I've been going to. I've been going to this one a lot.
Yeah. Doesn't get better.
I fell away from it for a while. I've got a few double oak things, but a lot of them, double oak stuff can be real hit or miss.
Yeah, I agree. And it's getting old. It's getting really old because there's not a lot of variance between the double oak stuff. All kind of tastes the same.
Yep.
Unless you're talking about Woodford double oaked. Now that does not taste like everyone else double oaking young whiskey to cover up the youth, which is what I feel like everybody's doing. Just double oak it and try to cover up the youth and get those super strong vanilla kind of s'mores notes. They all kind of taste the same. Yeah.
Yeah. The one so I had heard a lot of people saying great things about the Penelope toasted.
Same thing for me.
I did not like that one at all.
I'm with you.
I'll go grab that bottle because I'm gonna try it again to make sure. But man, I was just like, this is not great. Like this.
Someone tells me they have a young double oaked product. I know I can almost guarantee I'm going to be within 70% of what my brain tells me it's going to taste like, you know?
Yeah.
Like I know what it's going to taste like.
Same thing with the like Starlight, the Starlight double oaked. It was good.
Yeah.
But it just was not there. Yeah. But the one that was good. So that Vantage, it's
really good. So I'm gonna pour it. John says Sagamore double oaked is still my favorite. Jimmy John's Pizza. I agree with you, buddy. That I often start the night with that pour. I love that bottle. It's really well done. Really well done. But that, you're talking about a rye.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that the double oaked Sagamore. I haven't had that one.
Oh, you haven't had it?
No, it's just one that I passed up.
Yeah,
It's because it's always on the shelf. But
Yep. All right, we're gonna get into Vantage. So this guy's is Barrell's typical Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana blend. straight bourbon, some finished in Mizunara oak, some in French oak, and some in toasted American.
That one, it's like you know when you grab a you go and get like a soft drink, and you go to the fountain and you just get a suicide. You just get everything. Yeah. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when I heard about this, I was not sure. I've had plenty of Japanese whiskey. I was not sure about the Mizunara oak. It does have a different flavor profile to it, and I was like, how is that gonna like marry with bourbon flavors? But clearly I don't know what I'm talking about because it marries pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just so dark and rich, like that brown sugar, butter, vanilla. But I don't know if you would know that it was double oaked on the nose. Really nice though.
So when we were at whiskey mash, whatever we called it, we were sitting down at your table, and it was, I don't think anyone else saw it. I think it was only me, unfortunately. But there was a bottle of that Barrell Vantage that was there. It was opened. It was the one that the rep had left. And so some random guy, I don't even think he was there for I think he was just at the bar, but he saw it. He kind of walked over. He's like, hey, do you mind if I have some? I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So he puts down his beer. Someone else earlier had taken a drink of some whiskey and spit it back into a beer glass and set it down right there. And there were like so many glasses and things like that. I didn't touch them. Anyway, there were glasses everywhere. So the guy puts his beer down. He pours a little bit of that into a Glen. And he smelled it. And then he kind of turned around, and then he remembered he forgot his beer. He reached back, grabbed the wrong one. And it's like slow motion when you're like, no. But he couldn't hear me. The music was going, and he thought it was his beer. So he takes a sip and immediately spits it right back in there. He's like, this is not my beer. And he turned around and he picked up the other one. I didn't say it because but I was like, I'm pretty sure that most germs probably are killed at that proof point. But
that's so foul.
Yeah.
Oh man, this smells really, really good. This is good stuff, man. It's so funny because Barrell, you just never know, know. Just never know.
It's like playing Russian roulette every time. You just never know. They're either going to be okay or they're going to be great, and it's like for $100 you're playing the slot machine. Yeah, see what happens.
All right, I'm gonna take a drink of this. Oh man, that's good. That's the best pour of the night so far.
Really?
Yeah, you know what I love about it? It's so blind, I think I would know it was double oaked. But it's not overly done. It's really well done. It's a nice marriage of everything. Man, that's good. Again, it's that brown sugar, like deep brown sugar, spicy, almost like spicy honey, from a pizza. Have you ever had the hot honey?
Hot honey it's so good.
Hot honey is so good. It's like that.
Your pizza.
Man, that's really good.
So I had that one when we were at Whiskey Fest, and again, my smell and taste was like coming in and out. Like I could taste some things. I want to say I got like almost like a coconut.
Yeah, there's almost like a toasted coconut on there.
Yeah, so I wasn't crazy. All right.
No, not at all. You know what I love about this? This does not feel like they're trying to hide youth by double oaking something.
Yeah.
It just tastes really good. I would love to know like what the ages of the MGP and Tennessee and Kentucky bourbons they blended in here. And I don't know, like I can't say that I can discern that there's Mizunara oak in here. Like I can't taste it. I'm sure it does something to the blend, but it's not like it doesn't stand out at all. It's just really nice, man. What's the price point on this? I don't even know.
I think it's pretty much in line with most of their stuff.
Is that like $80 to $100?
I think it's closer to that. I would imagine it's closer to that 100, but let's look.
Because that Mizunara oak is so expensive because it's, you know, those trees like grow crooked and it's super porous. The casks are really porous and expensive. So I would have thought they would have marked this up a little bit, but maybe not. Maybe not.
So it's $80, which leads me to believe that maybe that stuff isn't as old, because with all the stuff they're doing, you would have to think that it would be more expensive.
Yeah. It's 114 proof, and like double oaking sometimes does, man, it rounds off those edges. It's soft for that proof point. It's really sweet, but you know, you still get bourbon flavors. It's not just wood. There's some bourbon flavors in there. Man, they did a really good job blending that. I think I rated that like the upper levels of bar worthy, almost bunker, but I don't think I took it there. And that's probably for my taste, just because like if I'm reaching for bourbons, I rarely just reach for a double oaked product. You know, if I had a choice, unless it's Woodford, yeah.
That stuff is so good. It's just because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you, at least when I'm
gonna taste those side by side.
Oh, you're gonna taste them side by side?
Yeah, I'll pour some Woodford.
The thing I will say, because I've still got some in my glass, and so everything that I've had has been like 110 and above, and that's 90 proof.
Yeah,
so it's definitely thin, but it's still got some flavor there. Like it still holds strong in the notes that you get from it, which is good. So
yeah. David said saw Vantage today for $89.99. All right, it's a buy for me at that price, man. I mean, everybody's chasing Smoke Wagon Rye, Chateau De Laubade. I mean, I think this bottle's better than both of those by a mile.
Yeah, I couldn't really smell or taste, but that was...
Daniel just poured a Titan's pipe, getting ready for the raffle tomorrow. Dude, I'll see you there. I can't wait. And that Titan's pipe, I posted this last night. Some people thought I was funny, but I was not being funny. That Titan's pipe pick, it's the Nashville barrel pick that A1 did, and I had it next to the Smoke Wagon elevator batch, and I'd pick the Titan's pipe every day of the week over it. And it's half the age. I think Nashville, speaking of double oaking things, I think Nashville barrel double oaks their stuff.
Really?
I really do. I just don't think they're saying anything, because if you taste a double oak product and taste that Nashville barrel, you're like, man, that's a lot of flavor for a 5-year MGP product.
I feel like they'd have to disclose that though if they did, right?
I mean, companies do shady shit all the time until they get called on it. I don't know.
They're adding additives.
Yeah, I don't trust any of these people.
I wouldn't mind if a company did, like, if they disclosed it, but if they did add like certain additives to their, as long as they're not like just harsh chemicals, you know, or like Red 40, but if they're adding some slightly natural like flavorings, I wouldn't mind it. I like flavored stouts. I think some of those can be amazing.
Sure. Gary said drinking Dovetail right now. I wasn't crazy about Dovetail, but I will say at the Whiskey Mash, Rusty, one of the reps from BC Merchants, brought over that older Dovetail, and that was so fantastic. I mean, that was one of the best pours I had all night. But I think that bottle again is like $250 or whatever. It's their limited line, like the Seagrass 16.
I mean, it was so good. TJ went and immediately bought a bottle of it.
So good, man. It is really the port just shines through more than the regular Dovetail on that older. Daniel said it smacks you in the face. I think he's talking about the Titan's pipe. It is so good, man. That Titan's pipe has tons of like tobacco notes in it for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad I got a bottle of it.
Oh yeah, you got one, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, dude, I can't wait till you tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'll go grab it.
Mike, that older dovetail was amazing. Yeah, man, it's so good. I might have to pull the trigger on a bottle of that. Mike, do you guys get Barrell down in Florida? Did you taste the Vantage? If so, what'd you think? I can't remember. He says, I don't know about 250 though. It's a lot of money. It is a ton. Yeah, it's a lot, man, for that. You know what that dovetail, that older dovetail, to me would be perfect for is if you have someone over for dinner who's a wine drinker who doesn't drink a lot of bourbon or any bourbon. The port just shines through so much on that dovetail. I think that would be a really good introductory, but I don't know what the proof point is. I can't remember. Mike said yes and yes. He bought a bottle last week too. Yeah, it's good. All right, while you get into that, I'm gonna go grab that Woodford
Double Oak. Man. All right, David said just saw Joseph Magnus cigar blend batch 111. Probably should have grabbed it just over 200. I would grab that. That cigar blend at just over 200 because MSRP is like 180-ish, but you hardly ever find it for that. That is crazy that they're getting that high on the batches. 111.
Ben, do you still see Jack Daniel's barrel proof in Texas?
It's been a little while since I've like really gone hunting, but last time I went, it's pretty available here. It's not tough to it's not really that tough to find. The picks, those go quick, but the normal stuff is fine. Is it starting to disappear where you're at?
Yeah, I haven't seen one in a while.
Really?
So this is a Harvest Market double oak pick that I'm getting ready to taste next to the Vantage. God, man, that Woodford smells so good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, some of those picks can be so good.
People always ask me, they're like, all right, I'm not super into bourbon. What do I get? Just go buy Woodford double oak.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's amazing. That's an amazing, it's an amazing gift. It's an amazing, just, bringing it to a party. Cause it's at a good price point too. The picks are what, $60, but I mean, even just getting the standard one, the not pick version, it's like $50. It's a good price point.
It's really not a fair comparison. It tastes invisible after I just had 100, 107, 110, 114.
I was still, let me see.
Man, that Vantage is good stuff, man. Really good stuff.
Yeah, it does. It's one of those that you have to, again, it's another one you have to drink like beginning of the night, because I think like now I'm starting to get more of that. I'm getting more like the banana and the cherry is like, it's not a rich cherry. It's definitely more of like the maraschino, like not the Luxardo cherries, but the real pretty much chemically cherry.
Yeah. Yep. But I know what you mean. Jason's in the house. What's up, dude? 2 at the bottle share was amazing. 2. What's that mean? 2 at the bottle share. Maybe he's saying the bottle share at Whiskey Mash was ridiculous. Like we had King of Kentucky, Pappy, cigar blends. Man, everyone brought bangers to the bottle share.
That King of Kentucky was so good. I got a sample of it, and I had it right when I got home. And I wish it
wasn't as good.
I know that was one is one for me that until that point I'd never tried a sample, never had it, but that's a bottle that's definitely like a unicorn one for me, one that I would definitely pay it for.
Did you pour Titans?
I did. I'm letting it sit for a minute.
Yeah, let it sit. I'm gonna grab Titans. Hold on.
Let's see. David said they're pumping out batches 10 at a time. Yeah, so Nancy Fraley, I think it's since they're so unique and so different, the way she blends them, it's kind of, I guess, for no batch is going to be really the same. So I think that's why they put them out that way.
All right, so here's the Titans pick. And I had this next to the Mash and Journey pick, Nashville Barrel pick, which was called the Houdini. And they're very similar, but I actually prefer the A1 pick to their pick. Both are really, really good, but man, this bottle is good. I'll be interested to see. I don't know if you're going to like it as much as I like it, Ben, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. It's funny how stuff changes when you're comparing it next to stuff. Like I just went back, I poured a little more of the Knob Creek rye, and I'm like going back to it now. And it's like a Nutter Butter. Like on the nose, it's like it smells like a Nutter Butter.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it smells really good.
So this Nashville Barrel is just 5-year MGP, 112 proof. But like I said, if you guys haven't tried Nashville Barrel picks, man, they're doing something to them. I don't know if they're double oaking them or what, but it's crazy.
You've almost killed that bottle.
Yeah, I have a backup though.
He still had a bunch on the shelf, so
I know everyone's passing them up, man. People are chasing those tater bottles, and fantastic whiskey's just sitting on the shelf.
When you talk about a bottle that doesn't look great,
yeah.
It's this. Like this thing looks terrible.
It looks horrible, right?
This thing looks like it looks like, oh man. So even the font,
the font looks like something like you just printed it off your printer.
It looks like, oh gosh, yeah, it looks like even the whatever it is up here, the foil up at the top.
Yeah.
It's like just, yeah, it's terrible. It looks like the Chuck E. Cheese toys. Like when you compare it to like a name brand toy and like a Chuck E. Cheese toy that was made over in China and bought for 2 cents. That's exactly what that bottle looks like. That's the equivalent of that bottle.
Marty's in the house. No whiskey is worth 200 anymore. I don't know about that.
That's yeah. Like immediately, I'm like, no, that's not right. It depends on what $200 means to you. Like if you spend $200 a week on groceries, it's like, okay, then maybe that's,
yeah.
It's like I get it, but there's whiskeys that are worth $200.
Yeah, for sure.
Whiskey or Marty, you're wrong.
It's okay to be wrong, Marty. It's all right. We love you.
When you're drinking Benchmark, that's no bourbon's worth 200.
But I will agree with David there. He said he agrees too many lower price to enjoy. There are a lot of, but the entry price is going up, man. It is. It's going up a lot. It's tough in the streets, man.
Yeah, like $60 bottles used to be, 40. Like everything I feel like has kind of bumped up almost like $20.
Yeah.
Or it's just become less available. There's certain stuff you just can't find anymore.
Dude, this Titans pipe at 112 is so rounded and soft, and man, it tastes like it's double oak to me. But it's got all those like sweet, like pipe tobacco notes that I crave that. I don't smoke pipes or cigars or anything, but for some reason, man, I crave that in bourbon. I love that note.
Yeah, you're not kidding. That's interesting. It was it's spicier than what I thought it was going to be.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I mean, because I like a lot of the stuff I was having like 110, 115 proof, but this one immediately just much more like of that like peppery spice just initially. Wasn't expecting that.
Mm.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, the older squat bottles were awesome.
Squat bottles of what? I'm trying to remember what we were talking about that would have had a squat. When I hear squat bottles, I think of the pirate bottles.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought, but I don't think he's talking about that.
No. Oh, Nashville Barrel Company. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, those are really good. Yeah, because a lot of those were like 7 and 8 year.
Mm-hmm. So you think that drink's hot, huh?
So I mean, I'm gonna give it a second sip. That was just the first one. It just surprised me is what my initial thought was. It surprised me with just the amount of spice, but I got those initially right off the bat. Those like tobacco, like the peppery.
Yeah.
You should get into. Well, I don't think anybody should really get into cigars, but you should enjoy one once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just never been my thing.
You're not gonna go running a marathon. You'll be all right.
Well, no, you saw me. Definitely not running a marathon. I was built to lift heavy things.
You're built to just waddle around. Just
yeah.
An oversized penguin.
Pretty much. Huh.
Yeah.
And what's your? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, man.
No. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what's your favorite pour of the year so far?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What's everybody in the chat? What's your favorite pour of the year so far?
Favorite pour of the year. Man, if I had more of that King of Kentucky sample, that one might have been up there. I think the one that stood out a lot was the William LaRue Weller. That was one. I think what else really stood out.
Mine was at Heaven Hill, 17 year.
Yeah,
I was ready for that to be over oaked and not be crazy about it, but my gosh,
you just locked and loaded to hate it.
Yeah, if I win a bottle at the raffle, it's gonna be hard to open that though. What are those going for on secondary?
They're going for $9.50, but they're going quick. Like they're going to start bumping up a little bit with those because everyone's trying to grab a bottle of those. Didn't you have a sample of that prior to Whiskey Mash? Or was that the first time you had it?
No, that's the first time I had it.
For some reason, I thought you had a sample of it before and that you weren't as wild about it. But
no. That's the first one I had.
Oh,
I thought it was better than Michter's 20.
Yeah, what was Michter's 20 like? Again, wish I could have had it, but
there was definitely it was really good, but it did have. I mean, it's 20 years old, so like you can imagine, it had more oak characteristic to it. Not in a bad way. It was still really good, really well balanced. Not very spicy. Didn't fight you at all. I mean, it was you could. You don't want to kill a bottle of 20-year bourbon, but you could.
Yeah, I mean, you think about 20 years, something sitting for 20 years.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yep, just crazy.
That's almost as old as I am. So, like, when you really think about that, I mean, for me, comprehending 20 years is probably a lot easier for you, but I mean,
it's a lot easier for me. Even more easier for Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Yep. For Ed, that's like 25% of Ed's life. So. It's so funny. So that, you know how we had that picture at a Hard Truth? What's hilarious is it's basically like son, father, grandfather. It's like what that kind of looks like. Like you could convince people that was a family photo.
Never thought of it, but yeah, you're right.
Go back and look at it, and you'll laugh. It's funny.
That's hilarious. I'll have to do that.
I'm pretty sure we were standing in order too, but.
Let's see. Evan Hill 17 was awesome. Old Forester Bottle and Bond.
I think it was birthday bourbon. Old Forester birthday bourbon.
Oh, I saw BIB. Yep. See, I don't have my glasses on. I'm old.
The Old Forester Bottled and Bond.
The birthday bourbon is good. It's just,
dude, the King of Kentucky blows that out of the water.
I agree.
Like it's basically the same. It's a very similar flavor profile, but just so much more oak. Like the birthday bourbon felt like a plantain. Like it just had like a very mature banana note, very prominent there.
Yeah.
But man, the King of Kentucky, like those extra years just did something real special to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
What do you think of the old Titans pipe here, Ben?
I think it's really good. Again, it's like the initial first pour, so you can't really pass judgment until you're.
Do you think it tastes double oaked, or am I crazy?
It's funny. I just grabbed one of the Glens I had here, and it was the Woodford Double Oaked. It almost smells like wine, like that real. Like real.
Yeah.
What is that note?
It's like it's like prunes almost.
Yeah, it's like very thin. Like that's the thing I don't like about wine is it's so thin. And that's the thing that for me, I've just never been big on wine. But it's thin and very kind of perfumey, but in like a chemically perfumey way. Like
wait, which one are you talking about now?
The Woodford Double Oak.
Okay. I'm talking about the Titans pipe. When you finish that glass, when you finish it, smell the glass.
Oh, okay.
And it's like
we're over here convincing our
like prunes or plums or I don't know. It's really good, man. That bottle is my jam. It's good stuff. I need to make room on my bar, so I need to
kill it.
I need to finish this off.
I've been doing that with certain bottles. Like normally if I'm pouring something into a Glen, like it's very, very rare that it ever makes it up past the bulb. When I was like killing a certain bottle and it like made it like 3/4 the way up, and I was like, this just looks wrong. This looks ridiculous.
Jason said Penelope toasted pig. Yeah, man. I think you jumped on after we started talking about toasted stuff, but I know a lot of people love those Penelope toasted picks. To me, they're okay. It's again, I think all these companies, it's like you can just tell they're covering up youthful whiskey by double oaking it. And that's what I love about the Vantage. It doesn't taste like they're doing that.
So this Titans pipe, and probably because it's called Titans pipe, but I think of like an old school like corncob pipe with the tobacco dumped out, and you put your nose in it, and that's just what I'm getting. Like it has that kind of like bready corn, like corn husk, and like just a little bit of that tobacco there.
But the tobacco note's just crazy to me.
No tobacco or leather note is is as crazy as that first batch of the Chateau De Laubade. Like,
yeah, that's true.
That was insane. Like that
Yeah.
was just, it was perfect too. It was just, yeah. Anyway, we
Yep.
stopped talking about it.
And that's why I love it so much. I mean, that's one of my favorite notes to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, man. So tomorrow we're going down to A1. They're doing their raffle. And I'm going to pick up 2 barrels. I'm going to pick up a wild turkey barrel that we did a pick on, that I was on. And then Elijah Craig barrel proof pick I did. Where we have the head
wild turkey. It wasn't a Russell's pick, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
did
really?
you not get one of those?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man.
No.
I just opened it. I have 1 bottle left.
I didn't know you did. I didn't know you did a pick of that.
Yep. It was really good.
Thanks for letting me know.
I told you. I'm sure of it.
What warehouse is it?
It's F, I think.
Okay.
That last year, it seemed like a lot of them were from F.
Yeah.
Honestly, like we didn't go to Wild Turkey. They sent us the samples, and they sent us.
Oh yeah.
And it was so unanimous and so easy to pick the best one. Like 3 of them were shit, and the one we picked was fantastic. Thank goodness.
So I'm smelling the glass now that it's empty. And it's like a sweet, it's almost like sweet and sour tobacco, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's like on the border. If you think about one thing too much, like if you think about Play-Doh too much, you'll get that like more of that sour, but then it's just.
Daniel, you've got the Russell's pick we did, the last one. So I think I can say this, but the reps told us that Russell's reserve picks are gone till I think 2024.
Yeah, they're not going to be bringing those out anytime soon.
Which sucks, man.
I mean, you think about it, it's like they did so many of those picks, and again, they're 8.5, pretty much 8.5 years plus, and it's like you only have so many barrels, and just everyone was pushing those things out.
Yep. Ben, do you want to buy a Russell's pick? I don't know if Daniel's selling it, but
shoot, don't take it to the same place that you did. Don't take it to the same UPS store.
Yeah, I'd have to get it to you next time I see you. Renee and I, sometime we got to get to Austin to see my sister. So
I know when are you coming?
I don't know. We're stuck here, man, because she's in radiation. So we're
true.
Stuck. We can't do anything until she's done. So, but she's only got 4 weeks left, and then 4 to 5 weeks of recovery, and then reconstructive surgery. So hopefully by the beginning of next year she'll be done and doing good. Yeah, she's feeling great. She's doing really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The weather's gonna be perfect. At the beginning. Like really, once you start getting into like April, then it's getting warm. But
yeah. And dude, I didn't tell you, but thanks so much for keep talking to her while I was running around doing all this stuff at Whiskey Mash.
She's awesome.
You're a good dude, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. No, she was awesome to talk to. She was much more fun than y'all. So I actually was the one that should be thanking her. Yeah, it was great. I got to learn about her job and stuff like that. It's her new director position. She's definitely the breadwinner of the family now.
Oh, she's my sugar mama now. Up until a year ago, I've always made more money than her, but not anymore.
What was hilarious is like her just watching you just spend money on bourbon because you bought so many bottles that weekend, and like she's just sitting there just like watching, like this is the money I'm earning. This is what it goes towards. Huh? Yeah, when they talk about finding a significant other that either enjoys your hobbies or at least tolerates them, it's like when you think about bourbon, this has to be one of the weirder hobbies that people have.
Yeah.
Like it really is.
I mean, from the time we met, man, she's always been amazing and just so cool. Lets me do whatever I want. Doesn't nag me. She's perfect, man.
That's awesome.
Yep. She's a good one.
speaking of just the weekend, just because it popped into my head, I have now such a greater appreciation, or not greater appreciation, a greater level of envy for the people that drive Jeeps with the doors off. I never realized how great of an experience that was until we were like driving around. It's like 70, it's sunny, like little bit of wind. You're driving, you got your foot hanging out the side. Like,
yeah, dude, it's weird because I crave taking the doors off. It is so weird.
It becomes like a religious experience.
Yeah. And it's I don't know what it is about it, man. I love driving the Jeep with the doors off. It's fantastic.
But that you came on the go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say you just came on the perfect weekend too. The weather was just couldn't have been better.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then the moment that I saw you wave at another Jeep driving past, I was like, they got him hook, line, and sinker. You're never not gonna own a Jeep.
I will never own another vehicle ever. That's for sure.
You're gonna start taking that thing to Moab. You're just gonna be like, next thing you know, it's got a 4-inch lift.
Well, I got to fit it in the garage, and Renee's so small; she's got to be able to get up in it. But
yeah, that's true. You'll get.
But I mean, having a Jeep / truck, I mean, I really don't need anything else. I could see me having that car for 20 years.
Yeah, it's so funny here in Texas. So everybody's got lifted trucks. Not so much in Austin, but going out to some of the smaller towns, everybody's got lifted trucks. You'll pull up to a store. You'll see this big lifted truck that's parked in a handicap spot. And in your head, you're like, what's going on here? You'll see this little old man grab like a stool, or like you'll see it happen. They'll grab from the back seat, put it down so that they can get into their truck and then drive away. And it's like,
oh my gosh, that's
dedication.
Jason said, Hirsch is my favorite, but only have the lower proof. Oh, he's so yeah, I think that was like in the 120s. Jason, have you had the one that's almost 140 proof? If not, I will bring you a sample if you're going to be at the lottery tomorrow.
That one, so good. So I haven't opened my bottle yet. I've been saving it.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I'm glad I got you a bottle.
I know. I'm glad. I should have gotten 2. That was my mistake because I didn't get 2.
I mean, it's just like Purple Tops.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
And Ed passed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
I had one for Ed and he passed on it.
I know. It's that one was tough. I thought about it for a second. I was like, because again, it was like $100 and you're just like, I don't know, but you endorsed it so highly. So,
oh man, it's probably my favorite pour of the year. But someone has like, why didn't you put Hirsch in your top 3 so far? And it's because it's a single barrel. I didn't put it in there, but
you should just because like you should start adding like single barrels. Store picks are tough, but
yeah, I guess I could. I don't really care. So yeah, I mean, if everybody wants me to,
hey, it's your channel.
I got to get samples to you guys for the top bourbon of the year.
That's true. That's why you're like, I'm not gonna have enough of this to send out.
No, I do. So that's one of the crazy things. Like when I review a bottle and it's like bunker worthy, I'm like, shit, it's so good, but I can't have any more because I got to save at least samples for Patreon members for the bourbon of the year video. But I actually got 2 bottles of that. So if I have to open up a backup, which I probably will, that bottle's getting pretty low.
Do you think about do you think about when you're having certain bottles, do you think about which ones you want to hold as a backup for like 10, 15, 20 years from now? Like, do you think about things like that?
All the time, but I'm not good at saving bottles. I open so much. I mean, yeah, I'm not good at it. Like sometimes if I get a really good bottle that I love, I'll go back and grab another one if they have it. But like these people that grab a bottle and don't open it for years, I don't know how they do that. I can't do that, man. I open stuff pretty quick. All right, Jason says he hasn't. So all right, Jason, I'll bring you a sample tomorrow. So sweet. Jason, man, last lottery, A1 lottery, this guy was on fire, man. He hit. He should have went and played the real lottery. Story time's in the house. Hey, what's up, man? Cheers, buddy. They were on earlier tonight. I hopped on for a little bit, but just didn't have a chance to say hey. He was on with Marty.
Good old Marty.
Yeah.
I've still got some of the sample from Mike, the Russell's 13.
Yeah, dude. I the sample he gave me, I like.
That's hilarious. I just saw that. I didn't even.
Oh, are you serious? You didn't see that?
I just poured it. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Cheers, Charles. Cracked open his Russell's 13 batch 2. That I love that, man. It's good. Everybody wants batch 1.
Batch 1 is phenomenal too. They honestly all are.
It's all right. I was in the minority on that.
You're crazy. Yeah, it's so good. If you didn't flag UPS, you could have had that the single cast nation.
Ah, man, it's killing me.
But the Wild Turkey 17 bottled and bond, I've been seeing, for some reason, I've been seeing more of those pop up on secondary lately, and they're not going for crazy prices like $3.50.
Yeah, I need to just send you. I need to get some of that. Jason said, yeah, this is what he won in the lottery: King of Kentucky, Van Winkle 12, Michter's 10. It's so ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah. His name was being called all the time.
Knob Creek 15. So I did not really like the Knob Creek 15.
Let's see.
Wasn't as big of a fan of that one.
Okay, so if you want that Russell's, Ben, we can get it hooked up.
We can get it hooked up. Well, we'll talk more.
Storytime says King of Kentucky hands down. Yep, we had that at Whiskey Mash last weekend. Jason brought it. It was fantastic. So good.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, Jason, thank you so much. I appreciate the sample too, because I was so sad. I think, who was I telling? I was telling someone when, maybe it was you, Lance. Maybe you were asking like, what is a bottle that you would like really want or whatever. But I was like, King of Kentucky. And then I saw the bottle there, and I'm like, I can't really smell or taste anything. So.
Oh, there were so many good bottles at that meetup.
Oh yeah, so many good bottles at the meetup. But then too, even at Whiskey Mash.
Oh shit.
Fest. What is the actual name of it? What is the name of it? Whiskey Fest?
Whiskey Mash.
Okay, Whiskey Mash.
Yeah.
I keep calling it Whiskey Fest.
We tried to. Well, Whiskey Fest, obviously, Whiskey Advocate has that, so they have their Whiskey Fest, and then I think we tried to name it like something silly, like Whiskey Jubilee, but there's actually one of those. And then so legal keeps telling us nope. So then we finally landed on Whiskey Mash, which actually is cool. I like it.
Yeah, those shirts came out nice, but
yeah. So I think Heaven Hill provided those for us. I think they did all those. Did you meet Bill, the Heaven Hill rep?
No, I didn't meet any of the reps. I just sat on your table and just observed.
His daughter designed the logo, which I thought was great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was I was just drinking beer the whole time. I was just drinking pounded beers. But yeah, Daniel said if you couldn't get $350 worth, you weren't trying. That's true. Like,
yeah,
they still had like, even after the entire thing was over, they still had some like birthday bourbon left. They still had Heaven Hill 17. There was like lot B, Rip 10. Like those bottles hardly got touched. Like it's just
Yeah, and they were giving away a lot of the bottles. So, like one of the guys we were with got a birthday bourbon, and he was like a kid in a candy store. He was so excited, man. It was so cool to see him get that.
Yeah, Yeah, he was stoked. He was stoked about that.
Yeah, there was a ton of swag. Four Roses came through and brought a ton of stuff for us. I mean, I was kind of grinning as the thing was going on, and I was like, man, these people that didn't go really missed out. And I wonder how much it's going to grow next year and the next year, and because it was like the perfect amount of people this year, in my opinion. Because you could go anywhere, you didn't have to wait long. You were just getting. I mean, I went up to and got Heaven Hill 17-year bottle and bond like 3 times. I mean, 17-year 3 times, and I was like, man, this is crazy.
I mean, the amount of stuff that you were able to get, and then too, like Four Roses, they had the limited edition, the 2021, 2020, like, you're able to get whatever you wanted, and you could have had as much of it as you wanted.
Yeah. Jason said he missed EC18. What, you missed it in the raffle or missed tasting it?
I think mistasting it.
Have you ever? If you haven't had it, Jason, I'll bring you a sample of that tomorrow too.
I don't think it's. I mean, I think it's fine, but it's. I'm not a huge.
I won't buy it. I mean, the only reason I buy bottles of EC18 is to mix with Elijah Craig barrel proof. Add a little bit of age, bring the proof down just a tad, and it's money.
Yeah. This Russell's 13 is so good.
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
It's like coming off of the Titans pipe, which is really good in its own right. It like feels thin compared to.
Daniel says too low proof. Yeah, and it's just too much. It's just too much oak for that low proof. It's like almost becomes like a little bit of a black licorice note to me. Way too much wood, but if you haven't added some to, I love adding it to the A120 batch of Elijah Craig barrel proof. Oh my God. Those two mixed together, taste so good. Jason said, Wild Turkey Masters Keep 1 he really enjoyed. Didn't know about it. Haven't had EC18.
Masters Keep 1 was good. I think that was just one that was. I think we've all said it. It was like the Russell's 13 should have been the Masters Keep.
Yep.
And the one should have been just the
Russell's toasted
release.
Yeah. Totally.
Did you see Wild Turkey? They've released now the people are finally starting to get bottles of the single Rickhouse.
Yeah.
Those are going for like $7.50 on secondary.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, they are coming in hot.
I am trying to get a bottle of that. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I just have a feeling I'm gonna be let down.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough because
what's MSRP on it? $250 or something?
I don't even know. Is it really that high?
I think it's pretty high.
Jeez, they deceive you because it's the same bottle as the Russell's, the Russell's line, which is all $70. Let's see how much. Mike
asked if you tried Calumet 16.
Yeah, so he gave me a sample of that, and so that was really good. That was like very a lot of like clove, like close to medicinal cherry oak. That was really good. I enjoyed that one. That's a good flavor profile that I like. I really enjoyed cherry. Yeah,
I rated Calumet 16 really high, but the more my bottles opened up, the more that medicinal cherry has started to really shine through. And if I rated it again today, I probably wouldn't. I still think it's good, but I wouldn't rate it as high as I rated it because I think I reviewed it on a fresh crack. I think, and I was like, holy crap, this is good. But I think one of the main reasons I said it was so good is because it didn't have that medicinal cherry like the 15 and 14 did.
And then lo and behold.
Yeah. And then the more I go back to it, I'm going to taste it. I got a bottle back there. So.
Jeez. Yeah. Suggested retail price of $250.
Woo, that's high, man.
Golly. That is crazy. There was another one too that Wild Turkey put out. It was like another like Masters Keep. see.
Yeah, 250. Whew. Dang, that's high. Anyone heard about this year's Masters Keep Unforgotten? What's the story on it? I don't know that I have.
Yeah, I think that might be the one that I'm thinking of. Let's see.
All right, guys, I am revisiting the Calumet 16 here.
Revisiting.
We'll see. So you can see I've done a little bit of, excuse me, a little bit of damage to it.
Yeah, so the Unforgotten. Yep, this is the one. So it's a blend of bourbon and rye finished in rye casks, and it's non-chill filtered.
Oh, it's a Borai?
Yep, bottled at 105 proof. So yeah, so the thing that I don't like about that is, again, it's like it feels like it doesn't have an age statement. It feels like those are probably going to be like younger ages. It's just like bourbon in general is just getting worse. Like, it's like, because everything's getting younger and they're having to push stuff out faster. So they're having to try to get creative. It's kind of like Beam is doing it with like the Little Book and some of the stuff they're doing there is just like, they're blending like 3 and 4 year stuff. It's like, I don't want to spend $100+ on something like that.
Did you try the 2022-02 Bookers yet? The Lumberyard batch?
No, I will never buy a Booker's. I will never buy a Booker's at retail. Like, I've had plenty of them from samples, and
I don't watch reviews before I do mine because I don't want to be influenced. And like everybody is saying that is their favorite Booker's, and I hated it. I just don't get it, man. It's
I just do not enjoy the peanuts. Just it is not something that is it does not hit. It just doesn't hit me right. Like, I just
Power Bourbon is convinced that I got a bad bottle, but they think they crack up, but there is a Sharpie note on it that I get, and I cannot get it out of my head. I just don't like it. Story time. I'll shoot you shipping info. I would love some samples, man.
Could you imagine if UPS confiscated those samples? Like, it's that guy. He's like, I know this guy.
Story time. If you ever want to come on, man, and share some samples, we'll do that, bud.
Jimmy John.
Calumet 16. Yeah, that's what I just poured.
Jimmy John's just said
Peter loves the Calumet.
Have you heard of Gadsby's Reserve?
Yeah, I think that's the new Remus. Like, instead of Remus 14.
Oh, instead of like the Volstead. Like,
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. I bet that is really good. I wonder what the proof on it is.
All you had to say was 15-year MGP, and I'm all over it.
Yeah.
I probably won't see a bottle of that, though. I don't think. Jason loves Calumet too. The nose on this really good. The nose on Calumet 16 is just gorgeous, man. It is so nice. See if I get all that medicinal cherry.
Ooh, it's cast strength. Okay, yeah, that's hilarious that they called it Gadsby Reserve, because a lot of people like the Volstead. It's that same exact. It's the same exact design. And everyone was like, "Oh, this reminds me of Great Gatsby." And so then, of course, they're like, "Oh yeah, let's just slap that on this thing."
It's their marketing department was like, I don't have time for this shit today. Let's just.
They have just an absolutely awful their business model blows my mind. It's like their marketing team's like just an afterthought. I'm like, you have one of the best. Yeah, like one of the most sought after bourbons, and during this entire bourbon craze, you're giving all of your best stuff to other people. Yeah, and then you're just like pushing out stuff, but like all you have to do is just take a bottle and slap MGP on it, and it's like, there you go. Like, it's not hard.
That's a
ways to just make it difficult.
That's a good question. What's Volstead worth nowadays?
That one actually didn't get too crazy. I think 350.
Oh my gosh.
Well, considering what it was like retail on it, I think was like 150 or something like
Yeah.
that. But
Which
I guess
back then seemed like a lot, which is so funny.
yeah. I mean, it was the presentation of it was really cool. Like it was
gorgeous.
A really cool
yeah,
box.
like raises when you open it.
Yep. Yeah, it's yeah, like
got
some
that
of those,
like Art Deco kind of vibe to it. It's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool bottle. I had one and I traded it away. I was just like, I didn't trust it enough to.
Oh, dude, I had it in a blind, and I was like, this is so, like, it wasn't super complex. It was just really, really good bourbon.
It was lower proof, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was
like 100 proof or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I always think about like, what can I get for it? And so sometimes it's a problem because you end up trading away something really good. But I was like, if I know that there's something that is just really good that I can get, like, again, like a Wild Turkey 17, I was like, I know I can get that for this. And so for me, it made sense. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, 14-year MGP for 350. I might need to search for it. Sadly, seems like a deal. Yeah, I mean, it's certain bottles. Yeah, certain bottles. It's like, again, the Wild Turkey 17 bottled in bond. It blows my mind that hasn't shot up.
I know. I need to get another bottle of that soon. Volstead would be another one, a good one to get, I think, and Bunker.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. But that 17-year, like we talk about, that medicinal cherry, it has such strong clove cherry notes that some people are just like, it is the most unique bourbon probably that I've ever had. I that's why I love that bottle. But I get why some people don't like it at all.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I think about, like, I made the comment earlier of like bourbon is just getting worse. You think about like last year, the year before, you think about some of the bottles that you were able to get on the shelf, like Discovery 3, Discovery 4. Like, I was getting those bottles on the shelf, and it's like, not that you can't find Discoveries now, but they're nowhere near the same. Like, if you have like 3 and 4, so much different than what they're doing now. And
you remember what was in our flight for our bourbon of the year, the first year of the channel?
Yep. Because that's what made me think of it. It was like Wild Turkey 17. It was
Discovery 3.
Yeah, Discovery 3, Elijah Craig, A120, like
Remus 3 or 4. Yeah, one of the two.
It was Remus 3 because that was one of the better ones. Yeah, I mean,
that was a sick flight, man. Sick flight.
That was when this channel the channel peaked. That's when it peaked.
And that was the beginning of it.
And it peaked. You came out swinging.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, you think about those bottles, it's like those are some of the, if one of those bottles, any one of those bottles came out this year, it would be in the running for bourbon of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. No doubt.
I mean, yeah.
Daniel said he likes you. You're a turkey head like me.
Yeah. I mean, turkeys. So when I first got into bourbon, one of the bottles that I stockpiled like crazy was Russell's Reserve Picks. I was like, these things are so undervalued. And so I stocked up like 20 picks in the span of like a month. And then I realized I don't need 20 Russell's Reserve Picks. So I started trading them away. But I mean,
well, you might now.
Yeah. It's those so undervalued, those Russell's Picks. It's crazy.
For sure, man. Yep. Yeah, that first year, I meant to tell you, I'm trying out. So the next 3 reviews that come out are going to have a different format. So I don't want to like ruin it too much, but like I'm looking at the analytics of the channel. This is probably boring for a lot of people, but most people just use the timestamps and skip to the tasting like all the time. So I open the video now with just like the B-roll, and I tell all the stats on the bottle going to the opening, and then it's straight to nosing and tasting. And then at the end, I list like real quickly the breakdown of everything else that I rated, but it's instead of a 15-minute video, hopefully it'll be like a 5-6 minute video with just tasting notes. to make it, because that's I feel like that's what I do if I watch reviews. I will skip to the tasting and that's it. You know, is it good or not? I want to know that as quick as possible.
So I think I like it. I think naturally when I look at a video and if I see it's like 5 minutes, in my mind it seems like it's just not as good a quality. Like
really,
I don't know why that is. I guess for me, if I see a video that's 20 minutes, it's like, okay, this is nonsense. I think 7 to 9 would be like a good, and it's almost like, hey, put more filler in your videos. But obviously that's not something you would do. But it seems like that if it's 5 minutes, it almost feels like that's too short.
Does it? All right.
Maybe that's a me thing. Maybe that's a me thing. I don't know. The chat can tell me otherwise. But that is
interesting, because sometimes like if my drive to work is like 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah. So
sometimes I will pick a video. Like if I see a video is 5 minutes, I won't click on it because it's going to be too short for my drive to work. You know, that's like funny. Not that I'm watching, I'm just listening to it. But if it's like 10, 11 minutes, I'll usually like, okay, this will take me all the way to work, you know?
The one thing that I like that Jason, he still does it, but one of the things that I really liked was when he would go into the like history of certain bottles. Now he would have to put a ton of time into that. And you certainly, I wouldn't expect you to do that, but that was a way that kind of helped keep it interesting, but also helped fill some of that gap of time with something that even like experienced bourbon enthusiasts would like enjoy kind of learning some of that stuff. But
yeah, I mean, if I'm going anywhere, I expect when I see a new company or bottle from Jason, I'm going to get a ton of history and the backstory, which I love.
Right.
I really love that.
Yeah, he put a lot of time into
a lot of time. He's got a video that's like, I can't remember what it is. It's like he talks about different distilleries for beginners, and it is such a good video. And I know he spent a shitload. He had to spend a shitload of time editing that, writing the script for it, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
You could tell when he does videos, like a lot of he's written a script.
He puts a lot of time. Yeah.
Because you can see him reading, but I just turn on the camera and go. I don't.
Oh, and it shows.
Yeah, it shows. I don't have time. Hey, we're almost to 6,000 subs, though.
That is pretty crazy to think about.
Let's see. What are we at right now?
We should be probably pretty close to that number, yeah?
Yeah, I gotta be. My thing won't update.
Your analytics.
So I'm using up all my G's in the house. That's a good question by Jimmy John's Pizzas.
I just read it, yeah.
He actually sense that bourbon has reached its peak. Seems like a lot of high-priced whiskeys coming out are lackluster at best. Yeah, man. I mean, I think there's still going to be some really good bourbons coming out. They're probably going to be limited editions, cost a shitload of money. But, man, 3-4 years ago, like we said, that was the peak where you could get Remus that had 16-year MGP in it. You know, all the Discovery series were just sitting on the shelves. Man, that was a good time.
I wouldn't say it's peaked. I would say it's just, there's going to be really good bottles that come out. They're just going to be impossible to get. Like it's harder and harder now to get some of those. And I think the availability for really good bourbon peaked because of just in how high demand everything is. But I can't wait for like 15, 20 years from now when bourbon dies down and then there's going to be a resurgence because everything's cyclical and I'm going to be in the right age to enjoy it. So
yeah.
You're going to be too old, but
I'm going to be too old. My doctor's going to be like, your liver shit. You can't drink anymore. And then I'm going to have to give my whole collection away.
That's exactly what you got to look forward to.
But hey, these are the good years. So I'm not thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, that's always the question. People have been saying the bourbon bubble is going to bust for a while, and it just seems like more and more people get into it, and it just gets harder and harder. Yeah. Thanks, David. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my phone. I can't pull up what it is.
Storytime said this is the time for craft distilleries to shine. Oh, well, you pulled it up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in a tough spot, man. That's why when I do reviews, I never shit on a craft distillery's whiskey. I just tell you whether it's promising or not. And if I don't like it, if I really don't like it, I just don't review it. Now, if I review a big distillery and I hate it, I'm fine saying I don't like it. But these small craft distilleries, you know, costs are so high, overhead's so high. And it's, you know, when they come out with something, they're looking at, I mean, their entry point is $60 to $70 for a bottle, it seems like. So it's really tough for them. And it is their time to shine, but they have a hard road. They have a hard road.
They really do, because it's like, you think about, if you're a craft distillery, you can't afford to hold back a large portion of your stock to let it really age. You have to be pushing and pumping stuff out. So then you do have some stuff that you do hold back, but it's like, that's still your first run. And a lot of these major distilleries, they've been perfecting their stuff. So when they put out a 12-year product, it's really a 20-year product in the making. And it's like, these craft distilleries, they don't have that. So if they put out an 8-year product like Wilderness Trail is doing, that's still kind of a first run, if you will, of an 8-year product. And so it's going to have imperfections. It's not going to be as good. Whereas like MGP at 8 years, so much different. So these craft distilleries, it's like, it probably takes them 30 years to really get to a place where some of these other distilleries are already at when they're putting out 6 to 8 year products.
Yeah, make friends with craft distillery. You won't be sad. That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what they can provide is a very unique and cool experience that feels very homegrown as opposed to very commercialized, which definitely has its benefits. So you can overlook a lot of the imperfections because it's kind of like I don't know, love. You can feel the love behind it more because you know the story.
Yep. 2 of my absolute favorite visits I've had to distilleries aren't in Kentucky. One is Starlight in Indiana, and the other has been Hard Truth in Indiana. Both of those places, craft distilleries getting started, both making fantastic products. The thing I loved about Starlight was the sons took us on our barrel picks, and then we hopped on the side-by-sides and went around their farm. You could just tell they were so passionate about what they were doing. I mean, they went away to college and didn't have to come back, but they did because they love the process. And I think it's really hard for those craft distilleries or big distilleries. The problem with big distilleries is they've got people doing tours who aren't like really in the dirt of those places and know those places inside and out and have real true connections with those places. And, you know, Brian Smith with Hard Truth and the 2 sons at Starlight are so invested in that place and have such passion for those distilleries that when you go on a tour with them, it is different than when you go on a tour in Kentucky. It just is. It's and it really like makes you connected to the brand and you root for them and you want to see them succeed. And you know, I am such a Hard Truth fan because I've been there twice and Brian's shown us around and we spent the day with him a couple times. And I'm a Starlight fan too, but I'm just really excited about what Hard Truth is doing. But I fully admit I am partially biased because of my relationship with them.
Yep.
But it's been so much more fun to visit those places than any distillery I've been to in Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I would 100% agree that tour that we took was phenomenal. I mean, it's like, there's no other, like you said, there's no other distillery where we would have been able to like go with the head distiller, like go drill into barrels. He would have taken us to lunch, drive around on an ATV. Like, yeah, those are things we never would have done at Wild Turkey or Heaven Hill. raffle. It's just like, we're not important enough. I'm sure they do that with like other people, but definitely not us.
Yeah.
So,
but the head distiller just, bring us over and like, hey, make these guys cocktails, and then grab your cocktails, hop on the side by side, and then take us on a tour of the property, and then take us to the Rick house. And
we need to go back. We need to plan another trip like that. That should be a yearly thing that we do.
Yeah, I agree. And we should definitely next time stay in the cabin, because when we were there, the cabin wasn't built.
That's right. Yeah, they were still building that. And
the cabin is, I think it's like $450 a night, but you've got 2 rooms and a couch, so split up, it wouldn't be bad at all to stay in there for a weekend. And then you're on site, and it's a very short walk to the restaurant and mixing room and all that stuff.
That would be really cool. Yeah, I guarantee we could like talk to Brian and figure out some cool stuff some cool unique things to do. I'm sure he'd roll out the red carpet. That'd be fun. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up. See what we can do. That'd be fun, man. I think let's see. COVID brought so many into the whiskey fold. That's true. The need to still have cocktails and bars being closed brought about a liquor renaissance. Yep. Daniel says, love what Starlight's doing. Everything finished, different for everyone else. It's a crapshoot what you get. Yeah, that's the thing with Starlight. I mean, you don't know what you're really going to pick. If you get a store pick at Starlight, they kind of just tell you what's ready when you get to the warehouse there, and you're kind of at their mercy. But they have enough stuff in there that you're going to pick some good barrels. But their finished ryes are so fantastic.
That Takai barrel, was it?
Yeah. Yep. The Hungarian.
Yep.
We are 15 away from 6,000.
There you go. Look at that.
Yep. That's crazy. We just had our 5,000 sub celebration not long ago.
We going to have a 6K one?
Well, I mean, since I've been blacklisted from UPS, I can't really send out.
The easiest thing, samples are the easiest thing to do. Like those are, because they can't, if you put them in a dark bottle, they're essential oils. And
it'll be a little box. It's not going to be a bigger box.
You could USPS that, yeah. But that's Starlight's interesting. They're
putting out so many. Every time you turn around, a store has 3 picks of theirs. I just don't know how they're keeping up.
It's because everything's so young. Like, I doubt anything that they put out is past 4 years. I mean, it's like, it's interesting, but it's like, that's the thing you run into is, so unfortunately I didn't get to try any of these, but at Whiskey Mash, when they brought out the cigar blends, there were like 4 or 5 of them. A couple of them were really good. A couple of them were really bad. Like, they just I don't think because they're putting stuff out so quickly, there's less quality control around some of that. Of course, they have quality control. Everyone does. But because they're putting stuff out so quickly, you have such variances in some of that stuff. And so it's a little different.
Those people are go crazy over those cigar batches. I don't get it, man. It tastes like cinnamon mixed with cat piss to me. It's like, that's not my thing, but people love them. So, I'm not saying people who love them are wrong. They're not. If you love it, you love it. I just don't like those cigars. It's not something I would reach for ever. Young and stores buy a half or a third barrel. So yeah, Daniel. So when we went down to Starlight, the only barrels stores were buying halves on were things like the maple finished or the honey finished. But a lot of the barrels they're buying full barrels of. It just depends. I think they just tell you what you can buy half a barrel of and what you can buy a full barrel of. But
so you said maple. That made me think of So when you mentioned like what are some really good whiskeys you've had this year, Widow Jane Decadence. Have you had that?
I haven't had it. I could have bought it. I just didn't.
It's good. It's
really
good. Yeah, it doesn't. So Starlight, you sent us some samples of like Starlight, like I think it was like something maple syrup barrels or something like that. But it was I've had some other ones too where you can taste the youth.
Yeah.
Decadence. It's not a complex whiskey by any means, but it's just it's very sweet. It's well rounded. It doesn't have any youth. It's a tough price point at like $80, and you probably can't really find it much anymore. But if any of y'all see a bottle of it, yeah, pick it up.
Yeah, Widow Jane stuff's always so expensive, man.
It is, but that one was good.
Yeah, yeah, the Starlight, the interesting thing is when we did the maple finished Starlight pick, we were in the Rick House. I mean, I was like, holy cow. I mean, it's a hot ass day too, though. Hot day. I did not taste any youth on it. And when it was bottled and we got it to the store and I tasted it, I was like, there's a little bit of youth on there.
Yeah, everything tastes different when you're in the Rick House. It's kind of like that's like the cheat code for distilleries is you bring everybody into the Rick House. The temperature's different, the experience, you're like kind of in awe because you're in the Rick House, the smell, like it's an experience.
Yeah.
You don't have that when you're sitting at home on the couch that you've sat in for 5 years. Like it's just different.
Yeah, you don't have all those sensory overload of temperature and the smells and the sights coming in and all that stuff. C. Davis said drove to Chicago Burbs for cigar batch, but instantly heard it wasn't great. Still need to open it. Dude, I would say open it and don't take my word for it. Like a lot of people love those cigar batches. So just because I don't like it doesn't mean that it's not good. You may absolutely love it. There are people in our groups that go crazy over those cigar batches.
It's one of those things that it's kind of like as you mature in your bourbon journey, at least from what I've seen, you appreciate the unique experiences more. Even if it's not a William LaRue Weller or something like that, like something that just blows you away, like just having something like, again, the Nashville Barrel Company, the Titan's Pipe, it's not going to be like the best whiskey you've ever had, but it's going to be really good and it's going to have some unique notes that you don't get a lot. So you appreciate that more. And that's kind of like that cigar batch. It's going to have some unique notes. Now, cat piss is not a good note, so hopefully you don't have that, but it's gonna be, for most of them are really good.
I can't get it out of my head when I taste those cigar batches. It's like the that like ammonia smell you get from that's why I will never own a cat, but that's that ammonia smell you get around cats. It's that mixed with cinnamon, like a cinnamon roll, which I love cinnamon rolls, but it's that ammonia kind of note. I just cannot get it out of my head, and I'm probably ruined on it forever.
There'll be one that you'll come around to.
Yeah. There was one, it was like 100 proof that I tasted that was better than the rest of them, I thought. But for me, Davis got a Starlight Honey that is fire, but it's a once in a moon pour. Yeah, and Starlight does their own honey. So that's what's kind of cool about Starlight. But to me, those, again, a lot of those honey finished are just too sweet, and I can't taste the bourbon. I'm just tasting honey. So for me, it's not my thing, but I get why a lot of people love that stuff.
I would have loved to try one of the older Belle Meade honey releases, because those were like 10 to 14 year MGP. Like they source those barrels from like local, I don't even know what they call them, bee farms, but I bet those are phenomenal.
So Daniel said it depends. This is interesting how many times they use the barrel. We had a 4th use cigar blend and there was no cinnamon, all leather and tobacco. That would be interesting. That might be really good. Jason, I've got that Starlight Maple pick we did. I'm gonna grab it. I haven't had it in a while, so I've been drinking a lot of water, so trying to stay hydrated and not act like an idiot here. So hang on.
Yeah, the key, you got to do micro pours. He's got to pour a little bit. That's the cheat code for that. Chattanooga Founders for the win. Great guess. Chattanooga can be real hit or miss for me. I bet Lance will agree, but what do you think about? So Greg S said Chattanooga Founders for the win. I said Chattanooga, it can be real hit or miss for me.
Yeah, me too. I have not. I've heard really good things about the Founders. I have not had it though. That's man, that Calumet 16, that cherry note, it's heavy.
Good heavy or bad heavy?
Okay, heavy. It's not. It's just a little too medicinal for my taste. So
yeah,
I'm gonna. These are the 2 Starlight picks we did. We did one in maple and one in port. I think I really like the port, but I haven't had them in a while. So I'm gonna pour this maple syrup here in a minute. I'm gonna rinse this glass out.
After all the stuff we've had, and especially coming off of that Calumet, I feel like those are just going to be real youthful.
I think so too. The proof on the maple finished is 106.6.
I'm going to go grab a bottle real quick. Be right back.
All right, buddy. If anybody wants to hop on, you can hop on. Just let me know and I will send you the link here. We're just enjoying this good fall weather. Heard it's real good. Haven't seen it. Yeah, man, that's what I've heard. I've never seen it. And I have a good connection with a store that gets a lot of Chattanooga stuff, and they didn't get one of those. So yeah, there's a little bit of youth on this, a little bit of grain on the, like I remember on the Starlight maple finish. It's youthful, but it's not bad. It's man, it's really good. For a younger whiskey, if you don't mind that kind of grain forward a little bit, has a little bit of that craftiness we talk about where you get a little bit of like fresh cut 2x4. That's what I usually picture when I'm tasting. If I taste a craft whiskey, that's the note that stands out to me. It's like if you cut a 2x4 and like tasted the sawdust. There's a little bit of woodiness in there, a little bit of grain. My grandfather used to have horses, and we'd go to the feed store and grab grain bags, and it's that kind of corn grain that's in there. It's in there a little bit, but it's not off-putting. It's really good, actually. That's pretty damn good.
Really sold me on those notes of grain.
I know.
Feed.
But it's not like what's a craft whiskey I hate? Oh, you sent me the first bottle this channel ever got. I should go grab that bottle and taste that tonight.
Go grab it.
You want me to grab it?
Yeah.
All right, I got to go grab the first bottle Whiskey Tornado ever got. Hold on. I got to go find it. It's in my bunch.
It's a real sentimental bottle.
I know. You're going to see how much I've drank of it.
Absolutely, like 2 sips. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, the first bottle I sent him, you'll see it. Craft Texas whiskey in all its glory. All right, let's see. Let's look at the chat. Fall is the best season for sure. I'm assuming we're talking about whiskey, because that's absolutely correct. Daniel poured a Decades for my turkey garden. Decades is good. Decades is very good. It's one that I don't think people appreciate enough. I can't remember if it was Eddie or Jimmy. I think it was Eddie. He actually went over to Europe to get the barrels that they were going to use for Decades. And it's like, once you hear the stories behind some of these things, you really appreciate it so much more.
Okay. Oh, I pulled every muscle in my body reaching for that.
Bend over.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, that was rough.
Oh yeah, here we go.
All right.
Watch it be better than what you originally thought.
I hope it is. I hope it is, buddy. All right, here we go.
Very to your point. It is
It's a proofy bastard.
It is a proofy bastard. Yeah, like 125. I'm pretty sure.
So here we go. Oh, there's dust flying off of it.
It is.
Did you see the dust fly off?
Look how dark it is.
Ghost Hill, Texas, Bourbon whiskey, Treaty Oak. Can you see the dust on it?
Barely.
Oh, it just fall?
fell. Yep. You saw some dust fall.
That's how much I've had, Ben.
Yeah, I saw that immediately. That's nothing.
125 proof. All right. So you put me in. I remember. So I just started the channel. You sent me. This was for my birthday, right?
Yep.
And I was trying to be like, the honest reviewer. And Ben sends me this bottle, and I'm like, I taste it. I'm like, damn it, I don't like it. It was so hard to say I didn't like it.
You're like, it's promising. And that's immediately when someone says something's promising, it's like, it's not good. That's okay though. That's all right.
Hey, you hated my last pick I did. So
that Maker's pick was not good.
You're crazy. It was so good. If you guys had Central Chocolate, tell Ben how wrong he is.
Yeah, that pick was not good. I'm not a big Makers fan though. Makers for me, like a lot of their stuff is just a real big miss.
Yeah, but see, I mean, this is why I love you. This is why I love our community, because we don't have to agree on what's good, what's bad. That doesn't make something good or bad. And it doesn't make you a horrible person if you don't like it. Like I do a pick and somebody doesn't like it. You're not going to hurt my feelings at all. It's okay. Not everybody likes bacon. I have a trainer that works for me that hates bacon. I'm like, what is wrong with you? How do you not like bacon?
So the people that I don't understand are the people that like floppy bacon, like bacon that's like,
okay, that's fair.
I need my bacon to be crisp. Like I would rather it to be too crisp than not crisp enough.
Yeah. I agree with you there. That is a fair.
You want to pour a little more in there or what?
No. Let's not go crazy. I mean, we got to savor this bottle.
Though, look how dark that is.
Oh yeah, here it is. I mean, I didn't pour much, but that sucker is dark.
Motor oil.
Yeah.
You're about to get a lot of wood sugars.
Oh my God, so it smells so young. What was the age on this?
Oh, I have no idea. I bet it was like
Daniel said Texas bourbon is tough. Some of it is.
Balcones does a good job.
Yeah, Balcones does a really good job. I like their stuff. Austin Still is good.
No, Still Austin.
Oh, sorry. That's whatever.
Still Austin cast strength is good. Yep. That one is good. Yeah. They do things a little differently.
Daniel, I've told Ben for a year, he needs to start his own channel.
Yeah, I agree with this guy so much more than you. Yeah, that Maker's pick was if that's the thing he's referring to, that Maker's pick was not good. It was rough.
Oh, you know what? This has gotten a little better, Ben.
There we go.
That's better than I remember.
Maybe you're just too tough on it. It needed some
air. It doesn't taste 125 proof either.
No, it does not. No, it's very sweet.
Wow. All right, let me think about what I'm getting. There is youthfulness there, but it's Texas whiskey.
Yeah. For me, there was like a lot of, if I'm remembering right, it was like a lot of like very sweet chocolate. Like
I was gonna say, you're right. A ton of chocolate. Of chocolate.
Hershey's chocolate, not like cacao nips.
I think there's a little bit of both, but definitely even a little bit of espresso, but more chocolate. That's way better than I remember, to be honest.
That's awesome. You've been shitting on it so long, you forgot.
I did, man. That's I mean, regardless, it is a extremely special bottle to me. So
yeah, I can tell by how much you've been savoring it.
That's exactly right. I've been savoring it.
You know what's funny? So I've still got a bottle of that as well. I bought 2 bottles.
Did you?
Because so that's normally if I would have bought that from the distillery, it would have been like an $80 bottle. They marked the price wrong at the store and I got it for like $40. So I was like, oh, I'm going to grab 2 of these bottles.
Oh, wow.
Because so the thing about a lot of people in Texas, if you're born and bred in Texas, you ride or die with anything Texas. So people, they love Garrison Brothers. They love Balcones. Treaty Oak was one that a bunch of people were hyping up. And I was newer into bourbon when I got that bottle. And so I had heard Treaty Oak. Oh, I'd heard great things about it. So I was like, man, Lance is going to love this. It's going to be an awesome gift. And then every time I go over to his house now, I see that bottle sitting like in his like bunker area at the very bottom with dust just caked on it. I'm like, that was when you're new into bourbon, you make mistakes like that.
I'm going to have to break this back out though. It's really good, man. Okay, hold on. I may have went a little overboard there. It's not really good, but it is good. It's not bad. I'm sure it can't be, but at 2 years old, I'm sure it's a 2-year-old whiskey.
Yeah. Most Texas stuff can't be more than like 3 years.
The craft notes are not overpowering at all. It's it stomps the shit out of Garrison Brothers. Anything Garrison Brothers is just like cinnamon wood to me. This is more interesting to me. Yeah, I should have went back to this.
Hey, I'm glad. That's but what's funny is so I've got a bottle of that still. It's like halfway gone. I haven't gone back to it in probably a year. It's like a chocolatey 2x4. It's not too bad. Yeah, it's like definitely you go to the lumber department of Home Depot and you were to lick the saw that they were, the circular saw they were using, you lick that. Yep, you're getting a lot of that.
Daniel said, once you trashed one, you were dead to me. I don't know what he's referring to. What I trash?
Oh, was it Wild Turkey?
It's probably one. Wild Turkey 1.
So it wasn't bad. It just it wasn't everything I hoped it would be. Like there was so much hype around that bottle.
And you have to remember that came out right after the 17-year bottled and bond. And the 17-year bottled and bond was in another stratosphere for me. It was so unique and the texture was so amazing. It was just, that bottle is just iconic to me. And you take one, which isn't, I think people misunderstand me. I don't think it's bad, but for the price point, if like everyone said, if that was a Russell's toasted barrel, right? If that came out as Russell's toasted at $80, I would be all over that pick or that bottle. But as a $170 limited release, it's just okay. And I think if most people had that in a blind, they would not go crazy over it. They would never in a million years guess that was a $170 bottle if they're being honest with themselves.
Because we've come to expect so much out of Wild Turkey that everything that we think they're going to put out, because you think about like what were the releases before that, like you said, the Wild Turkey 17, the Decades, like those other ones were special in their own right. This one just felt very run of the mill. Like there wasn't anything about, like it was good. It was very safe, I guess is like the best way to describe it. Like there wasn't anything that made you go, wow.
And it was Kapari jumping on a trend. It felt like.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the part where you're kind of sad for Wild Turkey, is that Kapari's the one that runs it.
Yeah, exactly. JR, I've yet to find a good Texas whiskey. Trust me, I've tried. They all taste like burned rubber or something to me. You taste, I mean, I get it. But like Balcones does some, what was the one they did? Hirachos or Hiraches? I don't know how I'm pronouncing it, but do you remember that one? It was so good.
So that was,
I might have a little bit.
Hechiceros.
Good, man.
Yeah. So they've got some good ones. So Balcones, it depends on what you get. Like that's ultimately, like if you get some of the lower tier stuff, not as good. Like most of their bottles that are worth anything are $80 and above.
Yeah.
And so like it just depends on what you like. It depends on what you enjoy. Like I've got a single malt from them that's really good. And then I've had some of their lower tier stuff, like their pot still, that's just garbage. And so, and it's like a $40 bottle, and it's terrible.
Did you try the A1 rye pick, Balcones rye?
I did not, because I couldn't taste anything.
Oh, that's right. So that is a bottle that I think if you put Balcones rye in a blind and you tasted it, you would be like, what kind of garbage is this?
Yeah.
But if you taste it on its own, it is the most like mint chocolate bomb. It is a great Christmas rye whiskey that is so unique and really, really good. But you have to get your mind right for it. It's gonna throw you off if you throw it in blinds with other things. And I think like Balcones single malt, I absolutely love. I think their single malt is so good.
I'm gonna have to get you like a cool Balcones release.
Yeah. I'm gonna see. I think I have some of that, whatever, however you pronounce it, a Hiraches or whatever it is. I don't know. So bad with that.
Hechiceros.
Yeah, sure, whatever. That's my Midwestern way of saying it. What? Oh, Jason wants to know, what did Ben go get and pour?
Oh, so I went and got. So I've got a little sample of in ECBP private barrel from Total Wine. And man, Total Wine, I have just a very neutral relationship with them. Their picks are just very average, super average. Like it's this one specifically, this ECBP, you can tell it's Elijah Craig barrel proof. It's hot, it's dry, but it doesn't provide you a whole lot else. And so I compare a lot of these ECBP picks to like the A120, the B520, C920. For me, those were some of the better releases of Elijah Craig barrel proof. And a lot of these picks just don't stack up. And so when we talk about bourbon getting worse, it's things like this are what I point back to, is that Elijah Craig is like, hey, how can we still be cool? And how can we still be relevant without releasing our 12-year really good picks? And that's, or not picks, but barrels. And that's the things that they do. So I was talking about Elijah Craig's private picks. They're private.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I went and grabbed, was a sample of one from Total Wine.
Oh,
and it's
nice.
like, I'm tasting it right now, and I compare it to like A120, the B520, or even like you think about like the C919 and some of those.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just not even close. Like it's just,
I know, man. I'm so like, I've been watching a lot of people are still high on Elijah Craig barrel proofs that have come out lately, and I'm just not.
Mm-hmm.
I've only reviewed one this year, and it's just, I don't know, man. They're just not doing it for me like they used to.
Mm-mm.
Now, did you try the 124 proof pick we did?
The Narav's birthday bourbon?
Yeah.
No, so I've got that bottle. I haven't opened it yet.
You haven't opened it?
Mm-mm. But I will, and I'm excited to try that one.
Yeah, we'll save it for another night. It's so good, man. It's really, really, it's off profile though. Does not taste like most of your Elijah Craig. I want to see your reaction to it, because in any blind we do, when we put Elijah Craig barrel proof in it, you know it's Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see if you think it's on profile or not, because Bernie Lubbers was with us and he's like, man, this is so good, but it is so off profile for Elijah Craig barrel proof. And
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll make sure when I try it, I'll try it with a couple other things. We'll do it on the live. We'll do it on the live and figure out how we do it. But maybe we have to send Ed a sample and he can come on too. But we'll put it in a blind.
Send who a sample?
Yeah.
Ed?
Fuck off, Ed. Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
I can't wait till he comes on a live stream. I'm gonna do that nonstop to him.
Just relentless. He's not gonna be the same man when he comes back.
His new girl's got him going to so many concerts. All these
That's crazy. I mean, I don't blame him. That Red Rocks, the venue, the weather, like when he was sending us pictures, it looked amazing.
Yeah. Greg, we talked about thoughts on Russell's single rick house. The 250 price point puts it in an awkward position. It puts it in a bad position. But yeah, we talked about it. It's gonna be hard, man. If I can get a bottle, I will buy a bottle, but I'm gonna be disappointed. I know I am at that price point.
So the context that I'll give is to the statement that I'm going to make is, so when we had that single cast nation, if for y'all that don't know, they will go out and get certain barrels from different distilleries. One that they had gotten was a non-chill filtered Wild Turkey barrel. They did a couple, but one of the ones that we had, I don't remember what warehouse it was. It was like E or Rick House. It was E. But Lance, you can tell him that was like one of the best pours ever.
To me, top. If I had to buy one bottle, I mean, you're talking about that single cast nation pick or Wild Turkey 17 are my top two bottles right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was phenomenal. And again, it was non-chill filtered. And so that's basically what these single rick houses are. So if you could get something that was like that bottle for $250, no brainer.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Cause you think about how good Russell's Reserve single barrel picks are. And basically this in theory should be a level and step above, but yeah, 250 is tough, but
I bet there's, Mash and Drum did a Russell's pick last year that was fantastic. One of my favorite Russell's picks ever. There are just so many good Russell's picks, man. I just have a hard time believing that's going to beat some of those. But
yeah, with it being, so I think what this is doing, like this is following a trend of distilleries starting to raise their prices because they know that people are flipping their bottles and making hundreds of dollars more. So they're just kind of taking a cut of that. So I don't blame them necessarily, but it does hurt us, the people that would open it and drink it, because $250 is a tough price to pay.
Yep. JR said, Lance, did you try the Vantage yet? I tuned in late. It was on my radar. Should it still be? Yep. I think it's good. A great bourbon for the price. And it almost, in my review that comes out in next week or the next week, you'll see, but it's almost bunker worthy. I don't know if it's quite there, but keep in mind, like, I'm not crazy on double oak stuff. But they did a really good job of, doing that second maturation process, but still letting the bourbon shine. I would buy it at $80 to $100. I think if you love double oak stuff, you are really going to love it. But I think it's great. It's one of the better double oak products I've had.
If your first thought when you hear $100 for a bottle, if your first thought is I could buy 2 or 1.5 1920s, then probably don't buy it. But if you're like, okay, I could do this, or this is fine, get it.
Yeah. What's the proof on 1920 or what on 1910? What is it?
1920 is, I think, 115.
No, but what about 1910? Because that's the double oaked, right?
Yeah, 1910 is, I want to say it's somewhere close to 100, maybe a little under.
Yeah. So the Vantage is 114 and some change. So, but yeah, I mean, like you said, the distillery is wanting their cut and cutting in on the secondary prices. It's, it's kind of what it is what Willet's done, right? Like you want a Willet purple top. Those things go for $5, $6. I don't know what they go for at the distillery anymore, but they're expensive.
So it's 93 proof.
Okay. That'd be interesting to taste those side by side, because 1910 is really good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, 1910 is really good. Yeah, the Willet 8-year bourbon that they just released, that's a good bottle.
Yeah, I love this bottle.
So that's one I forgot about. that would go in my top running. If I hadn't have tried Birthday Bourbon and King of Kentucky, that would be one that would be up at the top because it has a very similar flavor profile. It's just younger.
Yeah, I mean, I said in my review, like you're 70% of the way to Birthday Bourbon with that bottle. You know, it's the same DNA. It's really good.
The thing that I would actually say that puts that bottle over Birthday Bourbon is if you're not a huge fan of banana, that is a better bottle to go. Like if you're very sensitive to banana, that's a good bottle to go with.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to give you the same like oak and kind of leather notes and some of that darker, richer flavor profile that you would get from like a Birthday Bourbon, but you don't have as much of the banana.
Jason's talking about, he said, yes, had a sample, not normal Elijah Craig. He's talking about the A1 Narav's Birthday Bourbon pick we did on Derby week. JR said, he'll be honest, Heaven Hill is overrated to me. The Elijah Craig barrel proof stuff seems bland to me when compared to many others. I had C920. It was solid. Then everything after was way worse and more expensive.
Yeah. So I think if you go back and try some of those like pirate or some of the like little squat pirate bottles of Elijah Craig barrel proof, you'll absolutely change your tone there. But it ultimately is just bourbon getting worse.
Yeah, I know.
The Heaven Hill 17, phenomenal. You're never going to see it on the shelf.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the sad reality of where bourbon's at right now. And which actually may be a good thing because with bourbon getting worse, it's harder for flippers to get some of these like really rare allocated bottles. I think we'll eventually, my theory is we'll eventually see maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see a period where bourbon kind of starts to fade a little bit because a lot of the people I think that are into bourbon right now, it's because it's a fad, because it's popular. And I think people will start to die off, and then bourbon will take that 5 to 10 to 15 years to then start to build up more stock. And I think we'll see a resurgence of better bourbon. It's just going to take time to get back there.
Yeah, man. Right around the time I retire, I'm just going to be fucked up.
just drinking bourbon. And it's funny. Oh man, what was the YouTube channel? Was it Destination Bourbon? What was it? Like one of the channels that's not as active anymore, but he talks about how he used to take one of his golf whiskeys that he would put in his golf bag was Elmer T. Lee because it was $40. It was everywhere on the shelf. And it's like, you think about it now, people would kill for a bottle of Elmer T. Lee.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's like, it's 90 proof. It's young. It's just Buffalo Trace.
Yeah. It's just okay to me.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's like it's just like super allocated. People go crazy for it. Ed goes crazy for it. It's like, and it just shows how much things have changed from where they used to be, and it's interesting.
Who goes crazy for it?
Good old
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah. Good old Ed.
Yeah, JR, I would grab one. I think you'll be happy. Let me know what you think. Good stuff. He said, I'll tell you one that shocked me. Driftless Glen, 125 proof podcast pick. I'm not sure what that is.
The entry proof podcast, I think is what he's saying.
Okay. I have a Driftless Glen pick back there that we did at A1, a couple of them, and yeah, they're good, man. They're good. You can taste a little bit of youth, but still really good.
I've heard good things about Driftless Glen. I've heard that it's like their stuff can be very hit or miss with certain things, but I've heard more good things than bad.
We did a weeded one too at A1, but I haven't tasted it yet. I had a Driftless Glen for the advent calendar, but I don't think
the one that sticks out to me in a bad way was the what was it called? Like Whips, Chains, and something.
Yeah. That was That's the distillery up in Michigan.
That was not great. And then the Willet pot still. I'm so glad that you sent it though, even though it was terrible. I'm glad you sent it because what's hilarious is after I had that, I went home for Christmas. And my dad was like, "Oh, I was gonna get you a bottle of bourbon." I was like looking at some different ones. He showed me one of them, and it was the Willet Pot Still. It had great reviews because people either they don't know bourbon or they just like the bottle design. And yeah, Journeyman.
Journeyman
And
was it. Yep.
it's like some of those things like that. It's like it's cool to try them. And it's great that it was a sample because I didn't actually buy a bottle, but it's like now you know, here's what this tastes like. And it's just, it adds to your experience.
I actually have a Harvest Market Journeyman pick of, I think it was Silver Cross. I'm afraid to taste it live though, because I might not like it.
I would imagine that you wouldn't if it tastes anything like that other one.
Yeah. Yeah, Journeyman is black. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, here's the thing: craft distilleries, it's so hard because they're dealing with younger distillate. So I think you just have to decide whether you think it's promising or not. Now that being said, you look at a company like Hard Truth, and they're putting out like that sweet mash rye is 2 years old, and there is you cannot detect youth on that, in my opinion. It is fantastic.
Their bottle's really cool too.
Their bottle's amazing. Yeah, they did a really good job with it.
I think that's the thing that it's kind of like if you go to Whole Foods and you don't have a Whole Foods in Champaign, so you'll just have to imagine. But
we have a Harvest Market. It's about
kind of the same thing. It's like you go there and it's like buying like organic, buying like farm, like it's just farm to table, those kind of things.
You can like make your own cashew butter there and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like you're spending more for those kind of things, and you know it's healthier for you, but you spend so much more, and it's still great, still good, all that stuff. But it's like you go to the supermarket, you can get the same thing. Maybe it's lesser quality, but it's like it's so much cheaper. This isn't a perfect analogy, but it's like most people are going to opt for the cheaper route because it's like everything else. It's so much more expensive. You know what it could be, all that stuff. But you go for the cheaper route because it's within your budget, blah, blah, blah. And it's like for these smaller distilleries, you know what it could be, but they have to mark their stuff up so much higher because they are more that farm to table route. They're smaller, they're, all those things. Whereas the big distilleries, they can pump it out in mass, so they can mark stuff down cheaper, and that's kind of the trade-off that you get. It's like, do you want to support the organic, the local, or do you want to go and
I think that's a good analogy because you look at brands like Fry Ranch is a great one. They're producing great stuff, very farm to table kind of distillery. Hard Truth, Driftless Glen, some of those younger distilleries, but they're putting stuff out. It's $70 a bottle, and you have Wild Turkey Rare Breed for $42.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. It's hard for those younger distilleries to compete with that.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's not fair because again, like Wild Turkey's 6-year barrels that are bad oftentimes are still better than what like Frey Ranch is putting out as like their, best barrel. And like, that's tough because Wild Turkey's going to blend that and put that in rare breed. Whereas Frey Ranch, which Frey Ranch has got some good stuff. That
really good
stuff Aaron brought to the meetup last year.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. But it's just, you're not going to get that with every single barrel that they put out because they're, again, it's like most of their stuff is going to be very average. And then a lot of their stuff, or some of their stuff will be really, really good, but it's just, again, you're supporting the little guy with the hopes that they eventually become the big guy. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. And if you visit those places like Hard Truth or Starlight, you're fine doing that. You're more than happy to spend $70 rather than $50 on a bottle, and support them and help them get to where they need to be.
Yeah. Starlight has a good model of just finishing stuff, like going and finishing
and I think they're and this is just indicative of rye, because I think I think rye does better at a younger age than bourbon does. So
Absolutely.
their finished ryes taste so much better than their finished bourbons, because their finished bourbons and their bourbon just has a little bit of that youthfulness that you're not going to pick up in rye.
Yeah. And
Bourbon is not a poor man's game. Nope, it's getting harder.
It is 100% not. No, it's like when you think about it's tough to spend just $50 on a bottle.
Yeah.
Like you can't, there's not a lot of bottles that are $50 that you don't already have. Like if you're into bourbon. So it's just, yeah, it's an expensive hobby.
I do stock up on some Wild Turkey Rare Breed though. I mean, if I see that bottle for $50, I'm buying it. And it is getting harder and harder in Illinois to find that bottle, it seems like.
That is another bottle that is getting worse too, because it's like you think about, they used to have like 12-year stuff blended in there. You know that there's no way they're still continuing to blend that in there.
Nope.
It's like, so that's just another bottle. And since it's not age stated, you don't know what's going in. Like they could be putting 4-year stuff. I don't think they're putting 4-year stuff, but I would be interested to see what did Rare Breed look like 10 to 15 years ago with the blends that were going in there to what it looks like now.
Craft distilleries coming of age, 6+ statements will hopefully be good counterweight to big distilleries. You know, though, Greg, like you look at like New Riff. New Riff was one that, you know, years ago was an up and coming distillery that everybody was hot on. And they're still coming out with 4-year stuff. It's like they keep selling so much of it, they can't age it up. Now I think they're going to come out with some 8-year stuff apparently, but it's a hard juggling act, I think, for these distilleries to age up when they start to get popular. And like, there's no way I would be surprised if Starlight will ever have 6-8-year stuff. The rate that they're selling barrels, I think it's going to be really hard for them, but I could be wrong. But you're just not seeing some of that stuff age up. Now, one place that is doing it, Wilderness Trail, their 8-year that came out. Have you had that, Ben? The 8-year Wilderness Trail? It's really, really good. And you can tell, like, man, and we've been saying that for years. Like, Wilderness Trail is one of those in the beginning that was a craft distillery we thought was promising. Now they're not really a craft distillery. They're producing so much. And they're contract distilling for people and doing everything. But that's a distillery. That 8-year Wilderness Trail is really good stuff. I don't have a bottle to do a review on it, but if I did, it would be up there. It's good.
It's funny. So with some of these small craft distilleries, if they bring in outside backing, because a lot of them you have to bring in outside backing in order to be able to start up, because it's very expensive initially, and you have to usually wait 2 to 4 years before you can even put something out to the public. So a lot of these small distilleries, they have people that they're responsible to produce money for some of these backers. And so a lot of these investors, they're like, we want you to push this stuff out as quickly as possible. They don't want them to hold back 50% of their stock to let it age for 8 years so that then it'll be a higher age product. They don't care about us. They just care about pushing it to the masses, and the masses typically don't care as much. So it's like Starlight, they're just going to continue pumping that stuff out. So it's weird. I think it's a longer curve for some of these smaller distilleries to get to a place where they're so big that they can have multiple rick houses that are just meant to house bourbon for 8 to 10 years. It's like, I think it takes them a long time to get to that place. And I think some of them, it'll be interesting to see if some of them ever get to a place where they become a distillery that puts out stuff like that, because it's such a delayed gratification. And if you have a lot of investors, I don't think that you can get to that place as quickly as maybe you could when Wild Turkey was established way back when they didn't have investors. They were, basically moonshiners.
And the game for a lot of these distilleries now is contract distilling. Like Bardstown. They're backed up. From what I heard, even if you have the financials to get in and you want them to contract distill something for you, it's 12-year wait. Wilderness Trail, I heard in a roundabout way, like they only, all the warehouses they have on site, and this may be wrong, may be right, but only 2 of their warehouses are actually Wilderness Trail stuff. Everything else they're contract distilling. And you know, that's where the game is, and that's where the money is for a lot of those distilleries.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think it takes away a lot of the risk that's involved, because you when you really start learning about what actually goes on in those rick houses, how many barrels end up producing nothing, broken barrels that are just awful that they have to just throw away, it is very risky. And so, yeah, just contract distilling, it's not as risky. I mean, it's like, I don't know what kind of I don't know the legalities behind all of that and what they're responsible for versus what they aren't. But I mean, if you're just like, hey, I'll put up a rick house, age your stuff, whatever comes from it, great. If you have to throw stuff away, it's not my fault. Then yeah, it's like low risk, high reward.
I will say so I was on a barrel pick, and I can't say where we were at or what brand it was, but we had 3 samples in front of us and we tasted them. And I said, man, I don't know what this is, but it tastes like Wilderness Trail. And I was sure it tasted like Wilderness Trail. I was like, I know it does. And then later on, I find out that barrel pick we did was contract distilled by Wilderness Trail. But they signed a non-disclosure agreement, and they couldn't, they can't say where it's from. And, and so the company was like, you have a good palate, but we can't tell you.
Yeah, the rep basically had to go wink, wink.
Yeah. And it was, so you never know, like these companies are contract distilling from certain places. It's really interesting, but let's see.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like, you think about how much of it is the mash bill versus how much of it is the rick house, the location, the process of how they age stuff. Like, I'd be interested to see if you took like one of Wild Turkey's signature mash bills and you go and you age it over with Old Forester. Like, what does that look like?
I can tell you, I've tried the same mash bill, same cooperage by a certain distillery, and that exact same mash bill cooperage distilled on another site with a different distillery, and it tasted wildly different. Wasn't even the same. And I'll tell you afterwards what it is, Ben, but I can't say it on air. But it was the same mash bill, same cooperage, everything was the same. One was just distilled in different states, and it did not taste like the same stuff. It was amazing.
I'd be interested. So, like, if you took, because if you could take
no, JR, it does not rhyme with Hulu. You're not even close.
Nulu's doing MGP stuff, aren't they?
All they do is, they just buy MGP barrels, which is really interesting because somebody I'm close with in the industry tells me that MGP is completely out of stock. They are not. So I don't know what seeing what companies like Nulu do, Penelope does is going to be real interesting. I think
Nulu is doing like 2 to 4 year stuff. Like, I think that's what they're, because I've had a couple Nulu, and it's funny that you were saying how the Nulu, was it maple or was it toasted that you were a big fan of recently?
So we did 3 picks at Nulu, and they brought us out a pallet, and we sent it back. We did not, and the son of the owner is standing right next to us, and I was like, I don't like any of these. I get a weird Sharpie kind of chemically note in some double oak stuff, and all of the barrels they first brought us out had that. Sent it back. They brought us out a second pallet. Second pallet was fire. Like, the bourbon we tried was really, really good. And that's the one we went with. And Narav just released it at the store, and it tastes like that old clove gum. You're probably way too young to have had it, Ben, but it's just clove gum is what this pick tastes like. It's really good. Then we did a toasted rye. We got them to bring out some ryes. We sent some pallets back and finally found one we really liked. And then they were like, it was funny. He was like, you guys really seem like you know what you're doing. We want you to taste some of our experimental stuff. And it was kind of the stuff like Penelope's doing with the architecture series. And so they brought us out some of their experimental, and we picked one that is so good. It is like maple syrup. And so we picked that as well. So Narav got all 3 of those barrels. I don't know when the other 2 come out, but yeah, you know, they're doing 4 to 5. I think most of them are actually 4 to 5 year MGP.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it falls in line with what everybody else is doing, but one of my buddies got one of the maple Nulu picks from one of the stores here. It was terrible. And it's like it's like 80, 90 bucks. And it's like it's just such a tough price to pay.
It's a really tough price point. You're right.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when our toasted bourbon came out. I think it was like close to $100.
Yeah. It's just a tough price point. And it's like, if you get a really good bottle, it's great. But it's honestly, I think the way to go is almost like releasing smaller bottles, like doing like 375s of stuff.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good thought, man.
It's like that, like it's really tough to pay. You'd have to kind of get over the shock of paying $50 or $40 for a 375, but it's like, I think that's the way to go, because it's like for some of these bottles, like even that pick that you were mentioning, it's like, I'm sure it's really, really good, but if you put it on your shelf, how often are you going to go back to that over some of these other bottles that you have from more established distilleries? It's
I've went to it a couple times, but it's because I helped pick it.
You have sentimental value.
Greg S said can't stomach Nulu or Starlight. Greg, I tried a Red Liquors Nulu toasted rye pick. Actually, I didn't try it. I bought it blind because they weren't giving samples at the store. That's the thing I love about A1. He always lets you taste before you buy. You can taste any of their store picks there, which is great. And I got this toasted rye home. I have it back on the bar, and it's a drain pour. It is like you are pouring straight Sharpie into your mouth. It is horribly over toasted. And we tasted some barrels like that at Nulu, a lot of them actually, that we passed on and said, these aren't good. Bring us something else if you've got it. So you really like, there are some good, really good Nulu stuff, but you have to trust the team that's picking your stuff. And I would go to a store that lets you try before you buy.
If I was to pick who do I trust more, Starlight or Nulu, Starlight 100%.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yep.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. We went to Nulu, like the son of the owner came out, and their whole thing, you haven't been there, Ben, have you? So they got like this kind of like museum thing set up that's all like around prohibition, and it's like they're trying to create a story, but there isn't really a story, you know. They just source MGP barrels.
Right.
And the way that Nulu happened, I don't know the exact story, but one of the investors was sentenced for fraud, basically. And this kid's dad like took over, and then the kid was like, hey, what if we get into bourbon and buy some barrels? And I might be getting the story wrong, but it's something like that. And they ended up getting into bourbon in a roundabout way. They really didn't. It doesn't seem like they had a lot of experience in it. And then they started, you know, rebarreling MGP in these toasted barrels and developed a product out of it. And it's not that it's bad. Some of their stuff isn't good. Some of their stuff is really good. It's like you have to trust the team that's going in there and picking those barrels. And the people that go in and pick those barrels have to be willing to say right to the owner's face, this isn't good. What else do you got? And that's hard.
It's like, for some of those, like Nulu, like I have no connection, no ties to them at all. I just don't see the draw. Like, I'm sure some of their stuff is good. That's great. But it's like, yeah, if I put out 1,000 barrels of bourbon, a few of them are going to be really good. Like just the laws of averages. And so for me, I'm like, I would much rather buy into the Starlight that's doing a lot of these other very interesting, unique things. But it's like, if I'm just looking at someone that's going to copy what everybody else is doing and they
Mhm.
don't have a really cool story or passion behind what they're doing, why am I going to spend $80 on your bottle because it's got
Yeah.
wax? It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
Nulu. Like, what is that? Like, that's a distillery that I think could go away and I would not care. Like,
Yeah, I
there's,
think most people are like that. And the thing with all these barrel pick teams is you have to realize, like, you also have to keep in mind how fast are these companies going to barrel the or bottle the barrel you pick.
yeah,
Nulu is like that. I mean, you pick a barrel and they're gonna bottle it pretty quick and get it to you. You
right.
go to Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, Old Forester's okay, Four Roses. Those companies are going to take a while to bottle your product. And the
Which sometimes can be good, but
yep, exactly. But if you're double oaking something, you want that shit bottled immediately. If you like where it is,
if it's finished,
yep,
absolutely.
yeah, you need it bottled as soon as possible. And I think a lot of these people that go on picks just don't know that and don't have any context of how quickly it's going to be barreled. And it's a really important piece of the puzzle, I think. Because a Nulu, if you picked a Nulu that you really liked and it sat there for 3 or 4 months, it's ruined. It's ruined by the time it comes out. It's just too over oaked.
It's I remember kind of speaking in the same vein. I remember I think it was the Bourbon Junkies were talking about they did a pick with Old Forester and Old Forester sent them it was for like maybe I don't remember exactly. Let's just say the Statesman, which is like 100 proof, but they sent them the barrels at barrel strength, and so they had to pick the barrels at barrel strength.
Yeah,
And it's like
that's hard.
like that, yeah, it's like, and I get they couldn't it would be so tough for them to proof them down and then try to like it would be, I understand that, but still it's like stuff like that, you don't really know what you're picking at that point.
I think Buffalo Trace for the Weller Foolproof does the same thing.
Really?
I think they do. I mean, we did a Weller Foolproof pick, and I think they add some water to that and proof it down. Aren't Weller Foolproofs all the same proof? I think they are.
Yeah, they are. So there's a difference between foolproof and
And
barrel
barrel strength.
strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like foolproof, it's like, yeah, it's without getting nerdy about it. Yeah, there's a difference between
Yeah.
those. And so that's how they can
Uh,
get that all static proof.
JR said it has that same sweet mash spearmint citronella type nose that I think he said Wilderness Trail does, and the taste isn't far off either. It's wild, especially being MGP. I don't. It's too far away. I can't remember what we were talking about.
I think we were talking about Nulu.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what we were
Interesting.
talking about at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah,
To
I
me,
mean,
Wilderness Trail doesn't taste anything like MGP. That's just me. But Wilderness Trail does have that spearmint citronella type notes in some of their ryes. 100%.
when we did that pick for I think it was Wilderness Trail. Was it Wilderness Trail that
No,
we
we
did
did a
last?
Woodenville. You were in.
Woodenville.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. And that
Woodenville.
had that too.
That had that spearmint.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Lance, have you tried the Lucky 7, the Frenchman yet? How do you feel about French oak? I love some of the stuff finished in French oak if it's not overly done. I haven't tried the Lucky 7 Frenchman, but the Lucky 7 Holiday Toast,
Yes.
I freaking love that bottle. I have
That
one
I
bunkered.
wish I had more of that.
Yeah.
That one beat the brakes off of the Peerless Double Oaked.
Oh, crushed it.
Yep.
Crushed it. It is such a good bottle. Yeah, it's really good. Oh shit. Pujols hit 699 tonight.
That's crazy.
Oh, damn.
This next game is gonna be bananas. So many
Oh
people
my
are gonna be
God.
tuning into that.
God dang it. I'm so excited for him. He's one of my favorite players of all time.
What's insane is it's kind of like LeBron. Like you think about everything he's done playing so long, and it's like most of the people that were drafted in the same draft class have all retired, and he's still going strong. Pujols is the same, It's like,
Yeah.
I remember him when I was super young, and I'm not old, but
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
it's just most of those players have long retired that were relevant when I was super young, and he's still just going at it, chasing it.
Dude, when I was in college, I was at a game where Mark McGuire was chasing the record. This is how old I am.
Good old Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire was chasing the record. I don't remember where he was at. And we brought one of our buddies who was underage, and we're sitting in the stands and we're buying him beers. Somebody reported us, and security guard comes down and takes us to the security office. And this kid, I think he was like 20 at the time, 19 or 20. His dad's a state cop. And so they take us in the security office. While we're in the security office, McGuire hits a grand slam. And you can hear like all the feet stomping, everybody going crazy. We're so pissed off that he acted like such a jackass that somebody reported us. We got tossed.
That's crazy.
We got tossed from the game and missed McGuire's grand slam.
That was the peak for baseball. When you think about like Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, everybody juicing, corking bats, everything goes. Fuck it.
It's kind of like bodybuilding, like the unsanctioned divisions where they just juice themselves to the max and they're just up there. It's like they just need to do that for baseball. People are cranking homers. Like that was, I mean, yeah, you think about Barry Bonds, when you look at pictures of him when he first came into the league and then what he looked like, 5 years later, 10 years, it's just like,
his freaking quads are this big around. And
yeah, I mean, and to be very clear, there's still an absolute talent and ability that comes with hitting home runs aside from just being juiced. Yes, you can drive the ball further, but you still have to hit the ball.
Yeah.
And so it's like, just let them do it and bring baseball back. Like,
JR said, God, I'm old. I feel like every day being a teacher and speaking with kids. I remember the steroid era well, born in 1980. Yeah, dude, I'm older than you. I was born in 76. And the steroid era was beautiful. Those were the most exciting games ever, man. Everybody was hitting homers.
That was kind of an interesting time for America as well. Like we were kind of going through some stuff too. Like,
yeah.
We needed baseball to bring us out of the times we were in.
Yeah, I am. Let's see, what year was it? I had to wear a Dodgers hat because I made a bet with Ed.
I think that was last year.
Fuck off, Ed. Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
It'd be great if he was actually here to watch that.
I hope he watches this back. And knowing Ed, he will.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I think we are gonna call it a night, man. Thanks for hopping on and trying some bourbons with us. We've been so busy, I haven't got to do a lot of reviews lately, but it's been a great time, man, with Whiskey Mash and heading to Hard Truth, and it's been fun. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on. This has been great. I didn't think it was going to go this long, but hey, we're 3 hours deep.
Yeah, dude. I was thinking an hour. I told Renee, I was like, it'll probably last an hour. And she's like, whatever. You and Ben get online. You're going to go for 3. I was like, no, we won't go for 3.
I told Gabby, I said 2 hours max. And now we're 3 hours in.
Cheers to everybody in the chat, man. Thanks for all the great questions. We love you guys. You guys kept this going all night long. And it's just fun to sit and drink and talk bourbon with you guys and debate everything. So
till next time, we got to get another one. We got to get Ed back.
We'll get Ed back and then we'll see what happens. I love you guys very much, and we'll do this one for the road here. Cheers, everybody.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.
Fuck off, Ed.